So hello everyone, welcome to this another video of this channel. I'm Abhishek Verma and you are watching Spring Basics with Spring Boot series. In today's video, we are going to create a real world application from scratch covering each and every concept which we have learned so far in this particular series. Now I know that some of you may say that Abhishek, earlier you mentioned to do this in a live session. And yes, I remember the same. But due to some technical issues, I wasn't able to perform the same and hence I need to record this particular video. Now coming back to the main topic, so this video is going to be 3 hours long, where initial 20 minutes I will be showing you 3 slides and explain you what we are going to achieve in this particular video. The next 2 hours we are going to code the main business logic. Each and every class we will be completing there. Once it is done, then we will be writing the unit test cases for the logic which we have written. And then at the end, we are also going to create the jar file also. Now I don't expect you to sit completely 3 hours and watch the video. Instead, I suggest you to take regular breaks at an interval of 30 minutes or 1 hour and watch the video at your own pace by increasing or decreasing the speed. Now before you start with this video, a small disclaimer is that please don't expect me to explain each and every concept from scratch, because that I have already done in the past 22 videos of this series. The main goal of this particular video is that you have already watched either my playlist or you know the concepts and now you just want to know how to create a real world application from scratch by covering all the topics of Spring Basics with Spring Boot. So without wasting any more time, let's directly get started and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.
So first of all, let's try to understand what we are going to do today with the help of these next 3 slides. So first, we will see what is the 3-tier architecture which is generally used in the production level applications. So here, as you can see, first of all, we have a user and obviously this is me. Like why I should be using some icon when I can use myself. Then I will be interacting with some user interface. Now this user interface can be a UI application made with Angular or React, or it can be something as simple as the Postman or a SOAP UI, which we can use in order to make the API calls. Then this user interface will be interacting with the controller. And now the backend part is going to start. So this UI is something from the front end, or you can say Postman or some application as such. But now comes the main backend part, which we will be doing with the help of Java and Spring Boot. So as you can see, first of all, here we have a controller. Now this controller generally contains your APIs, like it contains the API names, what kind of API it is going to be, get, post, put, delete or something like this. And later on, it is going to make call to the service class. This service class is going to basically contain your business logic. Anything which is related to the business will be mentioned here. And then from here, the control will move towards the repository class. So this repository class will be basically containing the methods which are going to interact with the database. Like how you are going to add something to the database, how you are going to retrieve, how you are going to update or delete or something like this. It may be possible that you are going to write the complete methods on your own, or later on, as you remember, we are going to have next series about Spring Data JPA. So there you see this repository will turn out to be just a simple interface, nothing more than that. Okay, so it is going to be as simple as that. So that one is there. And after this, we will be having the database, where the actual data is going to reside in your database. It can be on your local host, or if you talk about the industry level application, then it is going to be somewhere stored in the cloud. It can be AWS, it can be GCP, it can be Oracle Cloud, it can be Azure, or it can be anything. Yeah? So this is how the things are going to work. Now here these arrows are only going towards one side, but generally, obviously, you know that data is also going to come back. So when you will make a request, data will obviously flow from database to repository, then to service, then to controller, then to user interface, and then obviously to the main user, or you can say yourself. So this is how the things will work in the complete industry level project. But as you know that currently we are not in this channel, currently we are not going to showcase anything related to UI. So that part is not going to be there in today's video. Plus there is no database also, because as of now we don't know how to interact with the database. We are yet to start with a Spring Data JPA series. So even database is not going to be there, but still repository is going to be there. And in the repository, instead of interacting with the actual database, what I will be doing is I will be making a list and we will be saving the data in that list. We will be retrieving the data from the list. Obviously, we won't be able to get all the functionalities which we get from the database, but at least it will be a good starting point, because the main goal is to understand how the actual or a big project is going to look like. Then the service layer, where most of the things are going to happen, and then the controller layer. So controller layer also, you see, currently we are not aware about the APIs, how to write the APIs, what are the different types of APIs, because that is something which we will be learning in the Spring REST series, which will even come after the Spring Data JPA series. Yeah. So here, instead of controller, we will be having a demo class which will be taking input from the user with the help of keyboard and showing the output on the console. So this is how it is going to look like. Now again, it is still your choice whether you wish to continue or not. Okay, but before you think that okay Abhishek, you are not going to interact with the database, it is not going to be a web application, so we assume again it is going to be a very simple application. Let me show you next slide and then maybe you will change your mind. So here we are. So if you are following my channel from a long time, so you know that when I did the JDBC series, there also we made the use case of the Pakistan. When we did the Maven series, then also we made the use case of Pakistan. Then in the complete Hibernate series also, we made the Pakistan application. But Spring Basics with Spring Boot was a little different. Here we need to understand very small topics, very small concepts also. So instead of starting with the Pakistan, we just kept on building small concepts separately. And today is the day where we are going to check or combine all those topics which we have learned so far and create the Pakistan application from scratch. So first of all, as I mentioned you, we will be having a demo class, which is obviously going to be our starting point, where you will see you will be having your annotation @ Spring Boot application, and you will be having your starter methods. Then maybe you will be taking input from the user and everything will be available here. Then now this is a Pakistan application. So in our application, there will be something like an owner, which is the owner DTO. Now owner DTO is just going to have all the attributes which an owner can have. Let it be the name, or it can be the ID of the owner, from which city or which state he is, then what is the mobile number, email ID, and all these details. For every owner, there is going to be a pet also. For pet also, there is going to be some IDs, some names, some gender, and something like this, what type of pet it is. Yeah. Then these pet are going to be of two types, a domestic pet and the other one is going to be a wild pet. For domestic pet, we will assume that we know their date of birth, and for the wild pet, we will assume that we are just going to know their place of birth. So this is how we are going to differentiate. Yeah, and there is going to be a one-to-one relationship between owner and pet. So this is how it is going to look like. Then for the gender, it would have been easier for me to just make usage of a character or a string. But why not this? Okay, so instead of it, what I will be using is the enum, so that we can have even more better idea. And same way for the pet type also, it is going to be an enum. The pet type, if you are still getting confused that okay, you have already mentioned domestic and wild, so what do we mean by pet type here? So this pet type basically represents whether it is going to be a cat, dog, fish, parrot, or we are just going to allow only few pet types, not all. So this is how it is going to look like. So this part is going to be very basic. Now let's see what do we have after this. So the next part is that now we will be going to the service layer. So in the service layer, in order to save the owner or do any kind of operation with the owner, we will be having the owner service, and that is going to be an interface first of all. Because in the bigger application, it's always a good practice to first of all make interface and then you can make the implementations. Yeah. so that you can easily decide which implementation you want to auto wire or which implementation you want to prefer. All these things we have already seen in the previous videos. So for this, the implementation is going to be owner service IMPL. Then we will be having the owner repository, and for that too we will be having the owner repository IMPL. Again, as I mentioned, the owner repository IMPL is not going to have any methods which is going to be linked with the actual database. Instead, it is just going to have a list where we are going to add the owner, from where we will be retrieving the owner, deleting the owner, and updating the owner. Then this is only related with the owner. Same things we need to have for the pet also. Pet service IMPL, pet repository, and pet repository IMPL. Okay, now you see, okay, there are too many things, and believe me, all these green color boxes which you see, they are going to be the classes which we need to create. The orange color boxes are going to be interface, which again we need to create, and these blue color boxes are going to be the enums, which again we need to create. But that's not enough. Now the next point is that I mentioned you that we need to take input from the user. We need to show something back to the user. Now while taking input from the user, maybe we can write everything in the demo class, but then our demo class is going to become very big. So instead of writing each and everything in the demo class, what I'll be doing is I will be creating a separate input utility class. So there I will be having the common things, like whenever I just need to get some ID from the input, so I'll be having the method there, and from the demo class I will be invoking those static methods. So this way we are going to do. So now what else do you feel it can be there? So the next thing can be that in the real world application, there can be some exceptions also. So currently you see that here it is not going to be the actual database. We are only going to save the owner. Since we are only going to save the owner, so owner ID is not going to be generated automatically. Instead, we will be passing it. And hence there are chances that maybe if someone else is entering the data, they may try to enter a duplicate ID. So duplicate owner ID exception will be thrown. Then there may be a chance that someone just want to retrieve the owner, but it's not available. So owner not found exception is going to be there. Then it also can be a chance that someone just want to retrieve a pet, but pet is not available. So pet not found exception is going to be there. Again, so these are the custom exceptions which we will be creating. I mean, it would have been easier for me if I would have gone with the basic default exceptions, but in the real application you are not going to do something like that. Yeah. And now what left? So I guess most of the things are covered, but still, if you remember, we learned something very interesting at end of this particular series, which was aspect oriented programming. So in order to add aspect oriented programming here, I have also added the log aspect class, with the help of which we are going to log in different places just with the help of AOP, and this way we will be learning aspect oriented programming also. Now most of the things are already covered here, yeah, but what we are not going to cover here is the profiles part. So profiles part is not going to be covered here because here you see that already we are interacting with a dummy database, so nothing much can be done. Maybe when we are going to have the Spring Data JPA series, at end of it, we will be implementing the profiles. So that part is not here. Dev tools, obviously it is going to be there. And I guess beside this also, most of the features you will be seeing here. But the point is that I'm not going to explain each and every stuff from basic. Instead, the goal is to create this application here. If you want to learn what is this, how this came, how this happened, how that happened, then obviously you need to watch the series. Now some of you may tell me that, okay Abhishek, why should we watch the series? Why can't you tell everything in a single video? Believe me, then what is the benefit of making so many videos for you guys? Okay, I mean, I'm making separate videos first of all so that you can learn the specific concept, and a single video so that it becomes easier for you to at the end combine and revise all the stuff quickly. Again and again, if I will keep on repeating the things, I don't think so it will be beneficial for you. Okay, and that is how we are not going to work in this channel. So yeah, so this is the Pakistan, and believe me, these are not the only things. Beside this, there are some property files, there is pom.xml, there is the banner also we are going to change, there is the YAML file also. We are also going to write the unit test cases. So currently all these things I have not covered in this particular slide, but in the code they are going to be there. Hence this video is going to be big, and hence before even continuing with the video, what you can do is you can like the video and you can subscribe to the channel if you haven't done till now, and you can comment comment that okay, you have started watching this video, because believe me, I don't think so you will be able to complete it in one single go. You will be taking few days in order to complete this, and that is perfectly fine. You just pause and you just comment where you have paused. Next time you edit your comment, and this way you can move on. Then, now before going to the code, just one more last slide that how the structure is going to look like so that you can become more excited here. So initially, you see this is going to be the structure. So here I have named it as a capstone project, and as you can see that it's very clear it's going to be a Maven based Java project. Then we are going to make usage of Spring Boot. Even the dev tools have been implemented here. We are going to make usage of the Java 17, and this is a default structure which generally we get whenever we are creating a basic project. But after adding everything, it is going to look something like this. So you see so many packages are there, and believe me guys, that is the thing. So in the real world application, it doesn't happen that you keep on coding each and everything in a single class or in a single package. You need to go for different packages. You need to go for different property files. You need to go for testing. Each and everything needs to be taken care here. That's why you see everything has been created. So initially we'll start with this, then we will go to here. In between, it may happen that you may get bored. In between, it may happen that you may need some rest also. So just keep on pausing the videos at different intervals and keep on liking the videos, and you can just try to complete this. And whenever you are going to finish, just let me know in the comments whether it was helpful for you or not. Now, without wasting any more time, let's directly get started with the coding part in our Eclipse or in the basically STS IDE. So now we are in the IDE guys, and as you can see, there are so many demos which we have created so far in this particular playlist. Each and every demo contains a particular concept in detail. The video is already available on my YouTube playlist, so you can watch it in detail if you wish. But today we are going to do something more interesting. We are going to make a complete project from scratch. So we'll go here, we'll go to Spring Starter Project, and here it is. Yeah, this goes. So let's name it something like Pakistan only. I guess that's more better name for this kind of application here. So this is the one, and here this looks nice. It is going to be B1, Java 17, jar, language is Java. Group ID is this, that's good. This is fine, this is fine, this is fine. Everything looks good, okay? Since I'm doing the same thing again and again, hence these names are there. Otherwise, by default, it is going to be com.example. If you wish, you can create from the web application also, if you don't find this is good. Now, next one. So currently, the latest version is 3.3.4. So that is going to be the latest version on which I'm creating. But even if whenever you are watching at that point of time, if there is any other version, then also believe me, there is not going to be any big change. I mean, not even a small change. Okay. So there is not going to be any big issue here. So what do we need for today? So basically we need to do testing, but testing dependency is going to be added automatically. We need the basic functionality of Spring Boot that will be added automatically. Then we need something like dev tools here. So let's search for the dev tools guys. Yeah, here it is, developer tools. So we will be adding just a simple dev tools. So this one we will be adding here. Yeah, we don't need other things as of now. Also do let me know, do you want another video related with Lombok or not? Because again, as per industry, we should be making usage of Lombok, but I wasn't sure. So currently I'm not going to add Lombok here. Yeah. Then here we need something like AOP. So do we have anything like AOP? The answer is no. Do we have anything like aspect? The answer is no, because when I created the specific video, I told you that this aspect or AOP you are not going to have directly from here. You need to add it on your own, and that's again fun. So as of now, we'll just say this, we'll go to again next, this looks fine, and we will say finish here. So depending on the speed of your internet, the number of jar files and other things are there in your local repository, you will see that whether it is going to take more time or less time in order to create the same. For me, it has created this Pakistan here. So this is how it is going to look like for us guys. Now let's quickly go to pom.xml here, and yeah, this is the one. I hope the font size is fine, otherwise it is going to be a big blunder for us, okay, because I won't be able to recreate this video again and again. Then from here, what I can do is I can simply remove these extra details. We don't want all these things. Yeah, I mean, if you wish, you can keep them. Otherwise, currently we don't need, so I'm removing it. Then this is the Spring Boot starter. Now I also need AOP, so what I'll do is I'll copy this, I'll paste it out here, and here let me just say a tab space, so this looks fine, and here I will say hyphen AOP. So since I'm doing the same thing again and again, so now this thing is on my tips. Otherwise, if you are starting, then obviously you need to take help of the Maven repository. So you can just Google it out and it is going to become easier for you guys. Yeah. So this AOP has been added, and here let's remove this extra line. So now it is only of 48 lines and it's looking good to us as of now. Yeah. So this one is fine. And here let me just quickly do a Maven update. As a good practice, keep on doing Maven update. Many times by default, it doesn't downloads the dependency. Hence, it becomes an issue. So whenever you are making some change, basically in your POM or in some other files, then always do a Maven update. And it's a good practice. Whenever we are going to run this, at that time also you may see there is a need for the Maven update. Yeah. So now this part has been done, and quickly let's go to this particular one and see what do we have as of now. So currently we are having something like src main resources, and you see there is something like application.properties file. The name is Pakistan. So yeah, that looks good to me. I want this name only. But the point is, I don't want it to be as application.properties file. What I want is I want to convert it to a YAML file. So I'll do it like this, and here I can automatically convert. So this YAML looks nice to me. So this I have done. And now let's go here. So this is going to be my main application, but I don't want the name of main application to be as this. I want it to be called as demo. So I'll go here, and what I'll do is I'll go to this rename and I will say demo. Again, if you feel the speed is slow, you can feel free to run it at 2x or 1.5x or whatever suits to you. So this is how it is going to look alike, guys. So yeah, this one is fine here. Now next, so now we have created the demo class, and this part is also good. Okay, so too many things have been done so far. Quickly let's run the application to see whether this is working fine or not. So we'll go here and we will run this. That's the beauty of your boot dashboard. Otherwise you can simply run. Yeah. So you see that, okay, currently everything is working fine. It has started demo, and by default the profile is default because currently we are not making any more usage of the profiles. So this is how it looks. Currently we have a Spring banner. Later on we are going to change that too, because here we are making our own application from scratch. Oh. Next what? So from which part should we start? Shall we start from the demo class itself, or shall we start from the service, or where? The point is, in this kind of project, obviously see, whenever you are going to work with the service class, repository class, or demo class, you need to move the data from here to there. The data will be in the format of owner DTO, pet DTO, something like this. So it's better to create owner DTO or those DTO classes. So what I'll do is, currently I'll go here and I'll create a new class. So I will say something like this, and I will call it as owner DTO. So this one will be looking like this, and here I will say DTO in a separate package. Also I want to have my name, so yeah, this looks good to me, and this is how it is going to look like. Now after this, what I'll quickly do is I will add some more fields here. So what I want is I want to have the ID, so I will be adding this ID here, private int ID. Then I will be having something like the first name. So let me just add this as first name, guys. So yeah, this one is fine. Now the owner must be having some last name also. Many of you will say, what about the middle names? So that is going to be too much difficult for us. So as of now, let it be like this. Then we want to have the gender also. So let's have this as gender. Currently we haven't made this gender as a enum, hence it is giving us the issue. Now next one is, obviously if this is an owner, it is a person and it should be from a particular city. So let's add the city part here. Then the next one is going to be here, we want to have something like state. So this state, or you can say province. If you're watching from outside, you must be wondering what is state. So this is province. Okay. Then the next one is going to be something like the mobile number. So here it is going to be a mobile number like this. Then the next one is going to be our email ID. So let it be as email ID, guys. Yep. So it will be like this. And the next one is going to be our pet DTO. It should be having some pet. So that's why we want to have a pet DTO here, guys. So this is how our owner DTO class going to look like. Currently, we don't have gender, we don't have pet DTO. So that's a small issue as of now. So what we will do is we will be creating a class pet DTO. So you can just simply click on it, and here you want the package. We want it in DTO only. We want name to be as pet DTO, and yeah, we want all these things. So this is how it is going to look like to me. Now, here what to do. So let's quickly write here also. So the number one thing which I want here is going to be the ID. So that is something which I obviously want. The next thing which I want here is going to be my string, and I want a name. So I will be writing it like this. The next one will be, what we have, we need to have a gender for the pet. So yeah, we will be saying there is going to be a pet gender. And the next one, we also need to have, as I mentioned, a pet type. So we will be writing this pet type here. So yeah, this is fine. And the last but not the least is it is going to have a back mapping. So from here also we should be able to get the owner. So again, we will be having this owner DTO going to look like this. So from owner you can fetch the pet, from the pet you can fetch the owner. So this is how the things are going to look like, guys. Yeah. Now next, again here we don't have gender, so let's create, but it is not going to be a class, it needs to be a enum here. So let's create a enum here. So this is going to be gender. Yeah, everything again looks fine. So let's create the one. So it's going to be as simple as that. It does need to be a male, it needs to be a female, and yeah, we are fine with this. Yeah, later on if anything required we can add later on. Yeah. So this has been created. The next one is going to be a pet type. So again, let's search for, I mean, if you wish you can directly create. Okay, so here it is, create enum pet type. So let's create something like this. And here, which all pets do you want to have? I want to have today a bird, that is something. Then I want to have a cat also. Then I want to have a dog also. I also want to have a fish. I also want to have a rabbit. Okay. So all these are the pets which I want to have in my Pakistan as of now. We are not supporting lions or the tigers. Yeah. If we wish, we can have them too also in the near future, but not today as of now. So this is fine. Now I told you that these pets are going to be of two types, domestic pet and the wild pet. So that again needs to be created here. So let's do something here and let's create one more thing. So there goes the class, and here we will be first of all creating a wild pet DTO. So let's create something like this, wild pet DTO. And here, now, for the wild pet DTO, the parent is going to be pet DTO. Now, generally what we do is we create a class, later on we say extends pet DTO and something like this, but let me show you something more interesting. So by default, the parent class is going to be object, but what you can do is you can go here and here you can say pet, and that's simple. So you can say okay, and then you can say finish, and yeah, see the magic, automatically this extends also came. Okay, so the moment you have started using the IDE, you should be starting with these, I mean, shortcuts also. So let's write it as private, and here we just need one simple thing, that is the birthplace. We don't know their date of birth. So yeah, this is how it is going to look like, the birthplace. Then same way we need to have something like a domestic pet DTO also. So let me just quickly create one. So this is how it is going to look like, domestic pet DTO. And for this too, I want to have it from the pet DTO. So let me select it, and yeah, everything looks nice. So I'll go there, and what I'll do is I'll be writing here as private, and this needs to be a local date. Today only I asked someone, and the person said they will be making usage of date for this, but guys, don't make usage of date or string or something like calendar. Start using Java 8 features, local date and all these things. Okay, stop using the old stuff for these basic stuff. So yeah, this is how it's going to look like. But okay, see, too many classes. The point is this gender is not a DTO. Okay, so what I want is I want to move it to the enum. So let me do something like this. Let me call it as enums. Yeah, so let me see enums, but there is no package, so no worries, we'll quickly create it and we will move it like this, enums. And then here the other one was pet type, so here also let me move it to as enums. Yeah, So just keep on refactoring the code the moment you are writing it, because later on no one is going to refactor. I mean, you will obviously forget the stuff. So here we just need to import this because now it is a part of another package, and here also we just need to do a quick import because again this is a part of a separate package, guys. Yep. So that is done. Now our enums are almost ready, but the point is this owner DTO is not yet ready. Okay, why? Because currently here we are not having the getter setters, we are not having the toString methods. So let me quickly create. So what I'll do is I'll go to this source, I'll say generate getters and setters, and I'll select all of them as of now. I'll say generate, and yeah, I got them automatically. Then I also want a toString method, so I'll go here, I'll say toString, and I want everything currently. Okay, pet DTO and everything. So I'll say generate, and yeah, this is how it is going to look like to me, guys. And yeah, this now looks better. It is having getter setters, it is having a toString method. Same things we need to do here. So like, I mean, in between you will keep on seeing that we need to do some repeated stuff. So if you wish, you can feel free to, I mean, forward the video, or if you wish, what you can do is that you can just pause, or you can just have some water in between. I also need some water, otherwise, yeah. So yeah, this part is also done, and here also what I need is I again need where it went. So yeah, this is to string. So this is also available to me now, guys. So Control Shift F. So yeah, this looks better, but it's not over. We need to go to this particular domestic pad DTO and we need to do the same stuff here. So first of all, we need the getters and setters. So obviously this one is here, and we also need something like a toString method. So I'll just go here. Now by default, since here it is having only one variable, so in the toString it will only show one thing, but I want to see the parent stuff also. So for this I will be going with the inherited methods, which are these. Okay, so whatever is the inherited method, I want that particular stuff also, like get ID, name, gender, pet type, DTO, and everything. So I'll select this particular one, and this way you can have it, guys. Yeah. So this is quickly, see, it's available, domestic pet DTO. Same way, let's now do it for the wild pet DTO. So we are here. First of all, let's add the getters and setters. So we'll do it for all. And the next thing is we are going here. We will go to this particular toString. We'll go to this particular one. We'll select all. We'll remove toString, get class, and hash code from this. We don't want those things. And we'll see generate. And this is how it is going to look like. So yeah. So now our DTO class also, I guess it's over. We are not pending with anything as of now. So yeah, this part is quickly finished. Now next, what should we add? Uh, I mean, now it is your choice. Basically, if you want, you can directly go with the utility part, or if you wish, you can just go with the exceptions part. What do you feel what we should add? Obviously, you won't be able to tell me. So let me decide on my own. And what I am thinking to add here is the exceptions. So let me quickly create the exceptions because they are easier to create. Okay. So I'll create, or let's say add the exceptions later on. Yeah, as of now let's try to understand what are the functionalities which we are going to have after this, because currently you are not aware of that. Yeah, so for this demo class we'll go here. Now in the demo, obviously I need to take some input from the user. I don't want everything to be written in the main method. So we want to have something like the command line runner. So we will say here implements, and we will be seeing here command line runner. So yeah, this is how it is going to look like. And then if it is a command line runner, we need to add the unimplemented methods, and yes, this one will look something like this. Now this has been also added. Now what can be the next part? Next part is that obviously here, first of all, whenever we are running this, we need to show the user that okay, these are the various options they can enter, like press 1 to add the owner and pet, press 2 for fetching the owner, press 3 for updating, press 3 for deleting. But who is going to write that much amount of code? That's a bigger issue. So what I'll quickly do is you can just pause a video, or not you, I'll directly, do it while editing. I'll check it from some other class, and let me just copy paste here quickly, but I'll tell you where I'm going to do it. So what I'll do is I'll just go here, and I will say something like, so here I'll go and here I'll create a class, and this one I will be creating as input util. So it is going to look something like this, and it will be a part of my util package like this here. So this way we can save at least some time so that we can focus on the main stuff, guys. Yeah, so here let me just save that, and here we are back. So this input util will get quickly filled up very soon. So now as you can see, this input util is completed. I mean, that was too quick. I didn't took much time to do this particular part. It is giving me some error also. Okay, it says set type. Are we missing this particular one, set type, in the pet DTO? Let me go there and check what is the mistake. So set type, and yeah, this is set pet type, but set pet type is there. Okay, I guess we should be writing it something like this. So let me just quickly do some small things. So let me change it to as type only as the variable name, and here also what we can do is we can just say here this is going to be your get type, this is just going to return you the type, and here it is going to be the type, here also it is going to be the type, here also it is going to be the type, and here also it is going to be this. Okay, so whenever you are copy pasting or recreating something, then these small issues happen many times. So this is something which we need to take care, but yeah, that is fine. So you see, this I have done. For while DTO also it will show me. So let me quickly do this particular one. So this is done, and here also let me quickly do. So this part is also done. So basically I made a variable with the wrong name, okay, in my initial part, which I thought that was different. So I'm trying to use the same thing later on. Also I need to use it, so that's why I don't want to change it much. Okay, that's the only reason. So now this input util magic is working fine. Okay, but you will say that, okay, Vishek, you told me that you will be coding everything. Now you have, I mean, unwantedly added so many amount of things. How we will learn? I'll explain you. I mean, this is some part which is not related as such with the Spring Boot. It is a common Java part. You just need to trust me, guys. You can tell me in the comments whether you trust or not, and if you trust, then believe me, you will be able to understand it very soon. So first of all, we have a accept menu option here. So this is going to be something which is going to appear very first in the starting, the moment I will be running the application. So I'll code it so that automatically these options are going to be available to us. Yeah. Then here you can see that in the argument, I'm making usage of the scanner. So with the help of scanner, I will be taking input from the user. Then here, currently in our applications, we are going to do these 6 important things. So our focus is going to be on service and repository class to understand the Spring Boot stuff, not on to creating this, I mean, difficult class. Okay. So we are going to add a new owner first of all. Then with the help of to, we can fetch owner details. If someone provides an owner ID, we can fetch the details. We can update the pet details. So here when I say update the pet details, so it will be like I will be providing the owner ID and the updated pet name which I want to have. So then the pet details will be updated. Then delete owner details. So it is going to delete the owner as well as the associated pet. Then this one is to fetch all the available pets in the database, and this one is to fetch only the pet details. So you will see that when we are fetching the pet details, we will be getting owner details. When we are fetching owner details, we are getting the pet details. Yeah. As of now, it may look a little bit silly, but later on when we will be having actual database, it is going to be even more meaningful, because this is something most of you feel difficult. Yeah. Then the next part is, so these are the 6 options. So now after this, I will be saying next int so that I can take some integer value from the user as a menu option. So if user enters something out of 1 to 6, so if that is an option, then obviously I will be returning the option from this particular method and it will get ended. Yeah. Otherwise, what we will do is we will simply tell the user that it's an invalid option. Maybe the user is someone like me and they will just say 8 or 9 or 7 or something like this. Then obviously it is not going to work. So in that case, we will say invalid option entered, and we will keep on invoking the same method. So now you see the magic. We are not going to stop the code. We will show the same method again. So we will force the user to enter one of these only. Otherwise, it is not going to stop. So that was your first option. Now you see that this kind of method you need again and again. Maybe the user has just added a new owner and now again they want to see all the options. So again and again this method will be called. That's why instead of writing this logic in the demo class, I created it as a separate method so that I can reuse it again and again as per my requirement. Now you see the benefit. So this is how you need to think while creating such a big application. Next, there is another method which will just simply ask the user want to continue, because I'm saying again and again. So just showing the same method is not possible again and again until unless we have some do while or while loop or maybe for loop. Yeah, but here a while loop will work for us. Yeah. Or basically we just want to show some options, so a do while option will also work. That we will check later on, not now. Okay, but I want something. Okay, so what I want to do is that I want to force the user that till if the user press Y, we will continue and we will keep on showing the same stuff. Otherwise, if user will press something else, we will just stop the code. Yeah. Now the point is that we can't trust user. I mean, user can enter anything. User can enter my name instead of Y or N. So what we are going to do is we are just going to take it as a string. We will convert it to the uppercase, whatever the user enters. And then we will be only taking the first character of that particular one. Now, if that character matches capital Y, we are going to showcase the same thing. If it is anything except capital Y, we are going to stop the application. Yeah? I mean, that's simple. If you want to see the same thing, you need to do some amount of hard work. Okay. And here that particular hard work is that you need to like the particular video. So this is how it is going to look like. Now later on we want to accept the owner details which we want to save. So what all the fields which we created here, we need to accept them. So it can be the owner ID, first name, last name, gender of the owner. Now for gender also, you see it is going to be the same stuff. For gender, now it is a difficulty. I want to tell user that you can enter only M or F. So should I hard code it? But if I hard code and later on I will change something in that particular enum class, I need to update it here. So instead of hard coding, what I have done is that from the gender, which is an enum, we have something like values. And then what we can, which provides me an array. And what I can do is I can convert to a list and I can showcase here. So whatever automatically in future, if I update my gender enum, so values will be updated here. Yeah. So that way it is going to look like, guys. Again, for this particular part, we will be converting it to the uppercase. Yeah. So this one has been done here. And here I'm assuming now again, most of you will say that what if person enters something like a male or something like this. So now I'm assuming that if I'm doing this much amount of hard work, they also should be entering M or F only. If they will enter male, then it is going to be an error. Okay. We are not going to accept that particular one. Yeah. Then city is there, state is there, mobile number is there, email ID is there. These are simple things. Once user has entered everything, then we will be starting a try block, and here we will be start filling all the values in the owner detail. So one by one we will enter all of them. Now you see whatever the gender user is going to enter, that is going to be a string. We need to save it as a enum. So we will do it like this, gender dot value of this. And now if user has entered anything except M or F, then the moment we will try to do something like this, it will throw an exception. Since it will be an exception, it will be caught here. Since exception will be caught here, we will show it simple as a message. Okay, like whenever you are creating a real application, you can again enhance this kind of message. You can have different messages also, but I have kept it simple as of now. I'll show the exception and I'll again ask the user to enter all the details. If someone wants to enter like ABCD XYZ, currently we are not going to accept. You need to enter all the details. Okay, so that much is the, I mean, you need to see. Now the next part. So same, after owner details, we need to fetch the pet details also. So for pet, again the ID, name. Now for the pet, there are two types, domestic and wild. So again and again, you can't force your user to enter both the stuff. I mean the place also and the date of birth also, because for wild pets, the date of birth don't exist, and for the domestic pets, the place of birth won't occur here. So we will first of all ask the user whether it's a domestic pet or a wild pet. Again, here we are doing with the character here 0. Okay, then initially we'll make null. Now if the user says it's W, then we will ask them to enter the place of birth and save it. If the user says it's D, that is domestic, we will ask them to enter the date of birth in this particular format only. Okay, and again you see, when you are making usage of scanner, you can't expect them to enter a particular date or a local date. That is not possible. So it will be accepted as a string only. We need to convert it to a local date later on. Hence I'm asking them to enter in this particular order only. If again they will do a mistake, they need to re-enter all that it is here. Okay, obviously we will be showing them what's the error. Then after this, we are accepting the gender, we are accepting the pet type in the same way. See, again for the pet types, I can reuse the stuff. I don't want to hard code here. That's the benefit of using enums. Remember, instead of enum, if you would have used a string or a character, you need to hard code the details again and again everywhere. Yep. So that's the benefit. So now after creating the pet DTO, so at that time also we can decide whether we want to initialize a domestic pet DTO or a wild pet DTO. So that accordingly we can set birthplace or the birth date. That is done. In case, let's say here also person enters something else except D or W. Let's say A, B, C, X, Y, Z. So we'll just throw an exception saying illegal argument exception, unsupported pet choice. We don't support. You need to enter those only. Okay. So we'll throw an exception manually. That exception will be caught here. Again, we'll show the message and again we'll ask the user to enter the details. So this is how it is going to look like, guys. Yeah. Next. Now later on I told you that we are allowing the user to update the pet details. Now while updating the pet details, we only allow to enter the name of the pet, which is the updated name you want to have. So that method is available and it's a simple string, simple. Then again and again we need to take the owner ID also. So this is the method to accept the owner ID. Again and again we may need to take the pet ID. So this is the method for that particular one. And as I told you, there is a method that automatically user can enter only a string. You need to convert it to a local date. So instead of writing that particular logic here, what I have done is I have written it separately here, convert a string to date. So with the help of datetime formatter, if you are not aware of it, I guess you have not watched my datetime API video where I have explained this particular part in detail. Okay, so there you can see this in detail, but this is being done and it will return you a local date, which you can again set here where it is. Yeah, convert string to date. So here you can do. So this is how the things are going to work here, guys. Now you see all these methods are static in nature because for this input util class, I don't want to create any object, or since it is a Spring Boot, I don't want to create any bean. Hence all these are just my static methods. Okay, because for utility classes we generally don't make bean. There we make the method as static so that we can directly call with the help of the class name. Okay, now here sonarlint is saying me something. Since in my STS sonarlint is there, so it will keep on telling me something. Okay, now sonarlint says that okay, this class contains most of the methods as static only, which means there is no benefit of creating constructor of this class. That's good. So if there is no benefit of creating a constructor, why don't you stop the user from creating a constructor? Yeah, that's a good practice. So what we should do is that we should make a private constructor so that no one can create or no one can do something silly stuff or like new of input util. Okay, so I don't want to have something like this. So this looks more better. Yeah, why so? Because I don't want anyone to do new of input util. So this is a logic which I have added here. Yeah, now I want everyone to call them with the help of class name only. So now my input util class is ready, guys. Now you tell me, was it beneficial? I mean, just imagine I would have written everything on my own here. Yeah, it would have been much more difficult for us. Now next, the next part is now we are again back to our demo class. So from the demo class, what we can do now? So the next part is that now we need to start taking the stuff from the user. So that means we need to fill up this particular run method also. But before run method, what I will do? From the run method, I will be calling the service class, repository class. So let me create those service and repository classes first, so that later I can know that which class I want to invoke when. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll go here somewhere and I'll create a particular interface. So initially we'll just create interface. Now you will see the magic of interfaces also this particular way. So here we will create an interface as owner service, and yeah, it's simple and I want to call it under the service. So something like this it looks, and yeah, this one looks good to me. So this is my owner service. Now here I wish to have some of the methods. So I want to save the user, but on saving the user, I don't want to return anything. So I'll just call it as save owner if that works fine to me. and in the input I will be accepting an owner DTO object. So let me write it like this, and yeah, this is the one, Control Shift O, Control Shift F. So this works fine. Now the next one. So the next one I wish to, so how I going to remember is, I'll again check here. So for add owner, I have created save owner. Now the next one is fetch owner details. So for fetch owner details, which means that I will be passing the owner ID and I should be getting the owner details back to the user. So I will be writing it like this. So this is the way that you should be having in your mind what your application is going to do. Later on, if you wish, you can always edit, but at least there should be a basic idea what you are going to do in your application. So don't directly jump on and start with the coding. Yeah, instead, first of all, try to understand what you want to do. So here, this is how we are going to do here. The next one. The next one is, I want to update the pet details of the owner. Okay, for updating the pet details, what we want, first of all, I want to know which owner is having that pet so that only they can update. Later on, I also want to know what is the name you want to update to. Okay, and after updating, I don't want to return anything. If you want to see the updated name, you can use find owner again. So what I'll do is, I will say update pet details, something like this, and here again I will be accepting two things. So one, I will be accepting owner ID, for which we want to update the pet, and the other one which we want to do is, we want to have the pet name, the updated pet name, which we want to see here. Okay, so if I'll say set pet name, I hope that is going to work fine for me. Okay, now next, what we want, so the next one is something like delete owner details. For deleting, what you need, we just need a owner ID, so let's delete it. For deleting also, we don't want to return anything, and we can simply say here delete owner, guys. So this is how it is going to look like, and here let me say owner ID. So yeah, this works well. Now the next, what is left? So the next part is, I want to fetch all the owners. So fetching all the owners, it is going to be like fetch all the owners. There can be 10, there can be 20, 100 or something like this. So it should be a list of owner DTO, something like this. And here I will be saying here find all. Okay, so something like this, find all owners. And now I don't want any input, guys, so it is going to be simple. So this is how it is going to look like to me. Save owner, find owner, update pet details, delete owner, and find all owners. So this one is pretty good, but still one part is left. What about fetching the pet details? We have not yet created anything for this. Now see, here when it is fetching the pet details, now you try to understand. Here, that means that I will be passing a pet ID. I will be returning a pet DTO. Pet DTO inside will be having the owner DTO. But is it a good practice to write it inside the owner service? Obviously no, because here everything is again pet and pet. What I want to do, find pet. What I want to pass, pet ID. What I want to return, pet DTO. So instead of writing here, let's create a separate one, and let me just do some copy paste. I mean, why do you want to write each and everything again and again? So I can just do a copy paste here, and I can just say something like this particular one, pet service. So this one will work fine for me. So I'll go here. I don't want these methods, and I just want it to have something like this. This time I want to return a pet. So here I'll say find this, and here I will be saying something like this particular one, and here it is going to be a pet. And yeah, this is how the things are going to look like, guys. Find pet service. Things are simple again, guys. Yeah, so this one looks nice. Now next, are the things going to be that much good every time? The answer is no. There are going to be exceptions at different points of life. You may pass a pet ID, but pet is not available. So what should we do in that particular scenario? We are going to throw an exception here, and that is going to be our pet not found exception. So yeah, see, this is the right time to decide which all exceptions we want to create. So I can do it like this, and now what I'll do is, I'll say create a class but not found exception, and here I will just rename it to as exception. So it is a separate package, guys. Yeah, and yeah, the parent is exception, so that looks good to me. And yeah, this is the pet not found exception. Here you can say default serial version ID, so this looks good. Now obviously this looks fine to me. Okay, that's fine. Okay, nothing more needs to be done, so let's just save it. And here also let's just save it. And here let's go to this owner service also. So if pet is not available, we will throw pet not found exception. What if owner is not available? Then we should be throwing owner not available. So let me just go back here, because I want to do something very important, and that is I want to copy this particular part and I want to pass it on here, and I wish to say owner not found. So something like this, guys. Yeah, again this particular one is not available, so this is not there. So is it possible, is it showing me to create this? Yeah, here it is, owner not found. And again I don't want to create here, I just want to create it inside my exception. So let me create, and here also let me add this. Okay, I just I mean there is nothing, if even if you don't write then also it is fine, but I don't want to have that yellow line or that particular thing here. Okay, so hence I just simply edit it. I mean it won't matter much as of now. So for this is the one. What if for while updating the pet details you don't found? So then also we should be able to throw. What if while deleting you don't found? So then also we should be able to throw, so we can reuse the thing. Now what if that for saving the owner, you see we are passing the owner ID also, but with that owner ID some owner already exists. So in that case we can't obviously throw pet not found, owner not found exception. Okay, this time we need to say duplicate owner ID exception. So here we will be creating duplicate owner ID exception, guys, something like this. Okay, and here let's create something like this, and this one is also in the exception, and yeah, there it goes. And here also let me say default this particular one, and yeah, this is simple, guys. I mean as simple as that. Yeah. So now this looks good. So our class is ready, our service layer is basically ready, but is the implementation done? The answer is no, we have not done the implementation. So that's good, so that is yet to be done. So we'll come back to this later on at some point of time in this video only, but as of now the service layer is ready. From service layer what are we going to do? But I mean from the service layer it is going to be just business logic. We want to have a repository layer also, guys. Okay, so what I going to do is that I'll be having somewhere here again, and I'll say a class, but not basically a class, for repository also let's create a interface. I mean, see, that's the beauty. Many times people keep on saying why should we create interface. Now you see, now at least you have also have a more picture here. What is the purpose of it? Okay, I mean even all of us know there is no implementation as of now. Okay, but still we have some picture at least. Okay, and that's why in the bigger projects we always create repository. Although there are many more benefits, but this is one of the small benefits we are going to have. Yeah. Now what I wish to do is that from owner repository what you are going to do, you will be obviously calling all those methods which you were having in your service. So what I'll do is I'll copy paste as of now. So let me just allow to copy paste. Later on if required we'll just rename them, or we'll just do something. Okay, now here one decision which I have taken is that here we will be just renaming something. So here for saving we will just call it as save. I mean simple. Okay, and here from the repository we are not going to throw, because if someone will try to pass me a duplicate owner ID, I will throw the exception from the service layer itself. So from the service layer itself, if I will be throwing the exception, it won't reach till the repository. So I'm not going to do something like this here, guys. Yeah. Then for the next one is find owner. I mean, why to make it more complex like this? What we can do is here we are just passing the ID. We can make it more generic. So the repository methods here, I'm just trying to make it more generic so that afterwards when we will go towards Spring Data JP, there you will find that okay, these names are almost similar. That's why I'm renaming it like them. Okay, so there the repository is not going to return you owner DTO, it will return you optional of owner DTO, something like this, guys. Yeah, and again there is no chance that it can throw you though, because it is throwing optional. Okay, so when it is giving you optional, it is possible that there is some owner, there is no owner. So exception will be obviously thrown from your service layer, not from your repository layer here. Yeah. Next one is for the pet details. So pet details, as of now, let it be as it is. So yeah, this is the one. Now the next one is delete owner. For delete owner, what I'll do is here I'll be having like delete by ID. Okay. So this way I just want to rename, and yeah, I just want to do, because again, if owner is not there, that you will check obviously in your service layer. You won't pass it on to your repository. Yeah? So this way it is going to work. And here also let me make it more generic, but just by saying find all. So yeah, this looks good. So here I have tried to make usage of the generic methods, which you will be seeing in your Spring Data JP also later on. That's the only reason I have named it like this. Otherwise, you will say, okay, Vishek, what was wrong in save owner writing here? There was nothing wrong, okay? But I just want to connect all the dots. Hence, I did it like this, because currently I can see the future, because I have already planned those demos also, guys, okay? Now let me just copy this and let me create a pet repository with the help of this particular one. And here we are. So this is my pet repository. So let's go here, guys, and yeah. So now pet repository don't need to have all these options. Like we are not going to save anything. So let's remove it. We are not going to do anything like this also. So let's remove it. And here we are just going to pass the pet ID. So yeah, this is the thing. See, this is how it is going to look like, and you will say, okay, Abhishek, you missed this. So let me just quickly rectify this issue also. Pet did you find by ID. That's simple, guys. So now my repository layer is also finished. Again, implementation is not yet done, but now at least you know how the things are going to look like, guys. Okay, so most of the parts are done. Now let's go back to the demo class and let's try to fill up this particular class. So now for filling up this particular class, what we can do is that from here I need to invoke the service layer. So assume this demo as your controller layer. From controller, you can't directly jump to the repository. Like, I mean, if you want, then you can do anything. If you wish, you can do the complete coding in one single class also. No one is going to stop you from doing that particular part, but that's not a good practice. From here, we'll say we can only reach out to the service layer. So for the service layer, let's create the variable. So here we will say owner, something like this. O needs to be capital, guys, and here we will say owner, and this is the owner service here, guys. Okay, so this is the one, owner service. Yeah, this variable has been created. Now the next one is we also want to have a connect with the pet service. So let me write it like this, pet service, guys. So this is also done. Yeah, so this is how it is going to look like. Yes, and later on I want to do some kind of logging also. So let me just write it now itself, whatever the logs I want to do. So for this, you know, the rules are very simple. You just need to have a logger here, so something like this, and you should be doing a logger, and here you should be making usage of the logger factory. So logger factory, and then you should be saying get logger, something like this, not loafer. So it is needs to be logger, and then here we need to have this particular one. So and we want to have it from SLF4G, I guess. Yeah, this is the one if I'm not wrong. So yeah, this is the one we want to use it. Yeah, if later on I'll identify I was wrong, so we'll just edit it. Yeah, that's not a big issue. Now the next. Now, obviously, I'm not going to create objects here by saying new of owner service IMPL or something like this. I want to auto wire them. You will say auto wiring is not a big issue, Abhishek. It is very simple. You just go and write at the rate auto wired on top of this. Okay. But the point is that we learned this is one kind of auto wiring. So this is one kind of auto wiring which we can do just by writing on the variable names. But internally, whenever you are writing directly at the rate auto-wired on your variable names, then internally it is making usage of Java reflection API. So that reflection API is like a burden on your code. Although it looks simple, but it's a burden on your code, and hence this is not a good practice, guys. Okay, so we should not be auto wiring here. So if not here, then what are the other two options? So other two options, if you remember, were to use either the setter injection or to go with the constructor injection. Now who will create the setter methods again and again? We just want to use it once. Okay, so let me just create a constructor here. So I'll be doing it here, and for this I can easily make a shortcut. So I'll go here, constructor using fields. I just want these two. I'll say generate and something like this, guys. So this one looks simple to me. I don't want to have it here. Yeah, now after this, what I can do is, now here I can say @auto wired and something like this. Okay, so you learned that this is how the things can be done. Now let me show you something more magical. If you remember from my those videos, I told you that generally whenever we are doing constructor auto wiring, we know that we always want to insert, or we always want to have the bean of these particular classes here. Okay, so we always want a bean of owner service, we always want a bean of pet service here. Since we always want, hence the better way is to make it as a final variable. So make them as final variables so that there is no chance that anyone can miss it. Another interesting part is that in Spring Boot, here it is not mandatory to write @autowire. Okay, automatically it will understand you are doing auto wiring. So this is a magic, guys. You will tell me that, okay, Abhishek, when you were explaining @autowire, why didn't you told us about this? That here you don't even need to write, and automatically it will assume that you are doing auto wiring. So this is still making usage of auto wiring. This is still constructor injection. This is still as per the rules of Spring Boot only. The thing is, you don't need to mention there explicitly. The moment you say these variables are final, it automatically understand that, okay, it needs to do auto wiring. Otherwise, from where it is going to fetch. Okay, and that's the magic. And we need to save some of the things for the last videos. Otherwise, like, you will, I mean, who is going to watch this last video? Okay, so this was something more interesting here, guys. Now comes the most difficult part, that we need to fill up this particular one. Now here what needs to do is that here the point is, the thing is that again this part is going to be very difficult. Okay, and here I don't think so we are going to learn anything much from this run method. So let me again do some kind of magic, and I will fill this particular place automatically in just 1 second. So now as you can see, I have again filled this particular run method automatically, and this looks this much big. That's the reason I don't want to code it, and again there is nothing much new here. Yeah, so what do we have here is basically that here I have created a try catch block, and it is try with resources, because this scanner is a resource and we should ensure that it should be closed automatically always at the end. So then this is a try with resources. If any exception occurs, it will be caught here, and we are just going to log the exception by saying logger.error, and this is the way. We are showing the trace also here. If you don't wish, you can remove this particular trace and you can only show the message. That's fine. Within this, since I want to do it again and again, so hence I'm starting it with the do while loop, because initially there is no input. We are not sure whether the menu option, whether the user selected Y or N. So for the first time we want it by default. At the end of this do, we will be asking the user whether they want to continue or not. So in the continue, if they will say Y, then this while loop will still keep on working and it will continue. If they will say anything except Y, it will stop automatically. Okay, so that's why do while loop came into the picture. Now let's see what's inside this. So the moment every time it is going to start, first of all, it will say welcome to Pakistan, and initially it will show you all the options. So it will show you all the options there, and it will hope that you are going to enter some menu option. Now, depending on your menu option, we have a switch cases here. So for the case one, if you remember, let me quickly open it for you. So the case one was add new owner. So for this, what we will do is we will be invoking accept owner details to save. We'll save it in a owner DTO. Then we will accept the pet details. We'll save in a pet DTO. And then we will combine both of them by saying owner DTO dot set pet DTO. And this way we are going to set the pet DTO. Now some of you can tell me that, okay, Abhishek, why you are taking the pet details separately and then saving it like this? Instead of it, here you can take it as a single method, and then also it will be beneficial. But try to understand, already owner is having so many variables, pet is also having so many variables. If you will make any one mistake, user needs to re-enter all the values again. Yeah, so instead of having, pushing user till that much point, what I'm doing is I'm creating these two separate methods here. Yeah, another benefit is that later on, if I want to reuse this method for some other purpose, I can do it here. I can just have a pet DTO, I can just have a owner DTO without pet, and that way it is going to work fine. Once I will get the owner DTO, I'll invoke the owner service method save owner and pass it. That is going to return me void. So if there is any exception will be caught. Otherwise, it will simply say owner has been saved successfully. Okay, simple. And here we are going to break. Then case 2. So case 2 was that we need to fetch the owner details. So for fetching the owner details, we need to provide the owner ID. So here we are accepting the owner ID. We are invoking the find owner. It will be saved here in this owner DT only. So we are reusing the variable. So there only it will be saved. We will say owner has been fetched successfully and will showcase the owner details just by saying owner detail, because we have implemented the toString method. So it will simply show the owner detail. Otherwise you need to show all the details one by one. Then next, the next one was to update the pet details of the owner. So we want two things: owner ID, for which we want to update the pet details, and the updated pet name. So now you see the benefit. I'm reusing this method again here except owner ID. So that method is being reused, and then I just need to again call pet details to update. So this way then I will be invoking pet update pet details, and then I'll say pet details for the owner have been updated successfully. Break. Next one was to delete. So again, I'm reusing owner ID to update. So this way, by creating a separate method once, initially it may be difficult for you to understand why this person has created a separate method, why isn't he writing that particular line there only. But now you try to understand my point of view. Now I can reuse the same thing again and again very easily without even creating any bean or object, because it's a static method here, guys. Now I can say delete owner, and I'll say delete it successfully. If anything goes wrong, exception will be thrown. This line won't be printed. That's fine. The next one is find all owners. So find all owners was simple. Here we don't want to invoke input util. So it will return me a list. And then what I'll do is I'll first of all tell what is the size of this particular list, and then I'll print it simply. So I'm just making usage of for each, and I'll print it as it is. Yeah. If it is 0, so it will say 0 owners and nothing will be printed. If there is 10, 10 will be printed, 100, 100 will be printed this way. The last one is accept pet ID to operate. So this one is also done in the same way. Find pet ID and will showcase the pet details. If user still tries to enter something else, obviously if you remember, that is not possible to enter something else, okay, because there we will handle that particular scenario here only. If they will try to enter something else, we'll say invalid option entered, and this is the point. But as a good practice, we are writing a default block also here, and here also we are saying invalid option entered. Okay, just as a good practice to have a default here. So if somehow this logic don't works, then that logic will obviously going to work for me. Okay, so this is how the things are going to work here, guys, and this looks good to me. Now what? These are too many things to do. Okay, so next, what do you think what we should do? I guess we have done most of the things. The only pending part is the implementation of the service classes, two service class, implementation of two repository class, and we also need to implementing a log aspect also. So basically these 5 things are left for us. And in between, if we will come to know that, okay, something else also needs to be done, we will be obviously doing that particular part. Okay. Let's continue. That's not an issue. If you are bored or if you are getting tired, then you can have a break. You can pause the video. You can watch it again. I'll be here only. Okay. So see, I'm providing you a complete support here, guys. So let me proceed. So the next part which I will be doing here is that I'll be going to this particular service layer and I will be implementing them. So I'll go to this particular one. I'll say a class, and this is going to be my owner service IMPL. So this is how it is going to look like. Or better, I can first create the pet. I mean, that was easier. That was, if you remember, was having only less methods. I guess only one method was there in the pet service sample. So I'll do it like this, and the package, obviously I'll create a different, I'll call it as service.impl. So I'll create even one more sub package here. Yeah. Now here the next part. I mean, who will write there again and again that, okay, this method needs to be overridden and something. I want it automatically. So I'll go here and I'll say here pet service. So why is it not available, guys? Okay, this is not a class. Here we need to add the interface. So I'll say here pet service, something like this, guys. So this is the one, pet service, and I'll say finish. So you see, automatically it printed implements pet service, automatically it says all these things also. And now you just need to provide your implementation here, that how you are going to find the pet here. Now before finding the pet, the next part which we need to do here is that we need to tell that for this particular one we need to create the bean also, okay, during the component scan. So we need to say here at the rate service. Okay, I hope you were missing these annotations a lot. So now we have started adding them, guys. So this is the one. Then the next part is that obviously from here we need to invoke the repository method. So we want to have that particular one also. So I'll say here pet, and I will say here repository, something like this. And the best part, like, I don't need to think of the names because I just keep on using the same name like this. So yeah, this way pet repository is done. Now the next part, again we need to auto wire. So still the same rules which I told you in the demo class, that here instead of auto wiring on the variable, we will be auto wiring with the help of constructor, and then we don't even need to write the @auto wired. So I'll go here constructor using fields, and I'll say this particular one, and yeah, this is how this is going to look like, guys. Yeah, let me remove this extra space from here also. So this is the one, and we don't need this super, I mean that's the default stuff here. Now here again what I'll do is I'll make it as final, so we can ensure that it is always created in this particular part only. And yeah, this looks fine to me. Now the next part is that we will be selecting this particular one, and here I'll come to this particular part. What I'll do is, as of now we won't remove this return null, we'll remove it later once our logic is created. So I'll be doing this. For this, what all methods do I have? I have a method find by id, and it is accepting a pet id. So yeah, that is what I want. But what it is doing is that if I just try to do it like this, you see it is going to return me, I mean where it is. So let me remove it like this. I hope now I can see. So yeah, this one will be returning me optional of pet DTO, but I want to return a pet DTO here. So instead of saying optional of pet DTO, what I can do here is that I can say here find by ID, and then I can make usage of some more methods also. If the ID is not found, then you need to return me this particular one, that is or else throw. So this is or else throw. Okay, so here if you will utilize this, so you see these are the methods. So if you will just say or else, so it will just return you a some other pet DTO. Yes, but it will do is that if the pet is available in the optional, it will return that. If the pet is not available in that optional, it will return some random thing which will you will write here. Yeah. Other option is that I don't want to return something random, I want to throw the exception. So we can make usage of this particular one, or else throw. Again, these things I have mentioned in a separate streams API video, where all these stream methods, lambda and everything has been explained in detail, the optional and everything. Separate videos are there. I'll provide the link on the top. The only thing is you guys don't watch. Okay, otherwise things are available, guys. Yeah. And here what I'll do is I'll just say return. I mean that's simple, guys. Okay, but if you are saying or else throw, it's not a good practice to write null here. Okay, I mean what's the benefit of doing this? Otherwise you could have just said or else if you wants to do something like this. So let's see what this wants to have. This or else is going to accept a supplier. Now what's a supplier? Supplier is something which is not going to accept something, it will just return. So let me write it like this. So this is the particular one, guys, and from here what I want to do is I want to throw the exception. So I will say pet not found exception, something like this. So this is the one, pet not found exception. But then it will just say pet not found, for which ID pet is not found. I want to pass a message also here, guys. How to pass the message? Now for passing the message, what I can do here is that on the top, I can create a message for myself and I can say here private, and then again I will make it like this, final, and then I will say here string, and then I will say pet not found. So this is the one. Okay, so pet not found. Then again, we are not going to use it here directly. Instead, what we will do is that to new this particular one. So we'll do it like this. Okay, so we'll just simply add it. Again, for this, you see, I have made usage of this. But the point is that this pet repository here can be, what do we say as, it can be auto wired, because pet repository ampl we are going to create after this. But for string, there is no way. How to pass a string now? For string, if you remember, we can't auto-wire these strings and the primitive data types and the other wrapper classes. But what we can do is we can make usage of @value. So if you are using the parameterized constructor, then you need to use @value like this, guys. So here we will say @value, something like this, and within this we will be saying these something here, and now it will look fine. And here obviously I need to write that particular variable. So currently we have not made this variable, but we are yet to create this variable. But as of now, I know that if I will be doing it, so I will be saying here pet not found. So here we are not hard coding the value. Here we are saying just pet not found. And later on, we will be writing that value somewhere else. Okay, in obviously in our messages.properties file. That way we are going to write here. But now we need to make usage of it here also. So what we are going to do here is that here we can just simply say pet not found. Yeah. So here I can just simply say pet not found this particular way. So this will not looking nice. Why is it so? The reason is that if we go to this particular exception and this particular one, you see that by default it is having only the default constructor. It is not having any constructor which can accept the variable. Okay, so that particular one is not there. So I guess I need to create one. So what I'll do is I'll just quickly create this particular one here. I'll write it like this, and I will say here string message, guys, and I hope this works fine for me, and I need to pass it on to the super. Otherwise, what we will do with this message? Okay, so we need to do it something like this. Yeah, and same way, like since now you know that we need to do, so I can just quickly do it for others also, so that we don't face the same issue again and again. And here I'll say owner not found exception, and in this particular one, what I wish to say is I wish to copy this particular one, and let me quickly write it here. Okay, so now when we will be using this, we won't be facing the same issue again and again, guys. Okay, so this particular part is done, and again we have provided the value. Now how to use this value? So for this we'll be going here and we'll say messages dot properties. So yeah, this is the file, and here this is the one, messages dot properties, something like this, guys. Okay, so this I have written here, and let me just quickly add it. So pet not found, and here I'll write it like this. So I will say pet not found with pet ID, something like this. I want pet ID to come automatically again and again always. Okay, so I don't want to hard code it. So what I can do is I can say here %s. So pet not found with the pet ID %s. And how I can utilize this %s here is that I, instead of directly passing pet not found, I need to pass it as a formatted string. So I will say string dot format. So I'll be saying something like this, string dot format, and yeah, so this is how this is going to work, guys. And here instead of null, we will be passing on our pet ID. So now whenever the exception will be thrown, it will be saying that pet not found with this particular pet ID. Yeah, so I hope this is found, pet not found with pet ID. Yeah, this looks good to me. I don't feel any issue as of now, and now I feel that this particular class is over to us. Although as of now we are not created the pet repository, but again That's the benefit, guys, for making usage of it. So the next part is that now we need to create the owner service IMPL. So again, we'll go here and we'll create this owner service IMPL. So I'll say owner service, or why to do it like this? Like generally as a coder, I mean, who always creates like this? We try to copy paste. So let me copy this and paste it here. Yeah, so I mean, I just want to show you that it's not a case that every time we want to recreate the thing from the scratch. As a developer, it's a good practice if you're copy pasting from your code. I mean, that's the beauty of your code, that you are able to copy paste it. Everyone can't do this kind of copy pasting. Okay, so for this owner service IMPL, I want it to have this owner service, not this particular one. I'll quickly rename some of the things. Okay, some of the obvious things I'll rename. Then later on, if we will identify that okay, something else needs to be done, then we are going to do those things also. So here this particular part, and then what I'll quickly do is I will just say everywhere this particular one owner repository. Here I'll say this particular one. For this also we will be finding something like this. So let me just write it here. Let me just do it here. Let me do here also something like this owner. For this also it is going to be almost same way. Okay, I mean, that's the benefit of creating such methods. And here we will be saying here owner not found, guys, and here we will be passing on the owner ID, guys, and here also it is going to be owner ID something like this, and here we will be throwing the owner not found. So let it look like this, owner not found exception. And here also let me write it like this, owner not found. And here also let me just quickly say to be as owner. And yeah, I mean, there are different ways. I can just do control F, and that could have been easier for me, but now I guess it's too late for doing that because it's almost done. The only thing left is this particular part. So yeah, now that one is almost done, but still all methods have not been implemented. So what we will do is that first of all we'll say add unimplemented methods, and now it is able to show you all the methods, all those things which were there. Yeah, just to have it in a same way like our owner service. So in the owner service, if you remember, save owner was on top. So in order to make it in a similar way, what I'll do is I'll remove it from here. I mean, otherwise it would have came in the same order, but since we have copy pasted and we have done this, so yeah, then it didn't came in the same order, and I needs to do a little bit extra hard work here. But yeah, this one is looking nice to us. So now we have one more variable. That is something interesting, that this extra variable is there. And here let me do it. So let me write it like this, owner. And here also what I can do is I can paste it, and here also I can reuse the values, owner not found with owner ID, something like this. Yeah, now it is going to look nice to me. So this one is fine, guys, and now you see this is how it is going to look like. So find owner we copy pasted, so I was able to make it easily. For others I still need to do a bit amount of hard work. So let's start with the first one. So this first one is the save owner. So here it is only going to save the owner in the database, but before directly saving, we are taking input from the user. So we want to check whether this owner ID already exists or not. If the owner ID is already there, then we should not be saving it, and instead we should be throwing the exception. So how to get the owner ID now? So you know, this owner ID was available within this owner DTO. So we were passing. So what I'll do is I will say here if, and then here I will say to this particular one owner repository. Yeah, this is the one, owner repository. And here I will say something like this, find by ID. So this particular one, and within this I will be passing this particular owner ID, and then I say get. So okay, this is not owner, this is owner DTO, and then from here I will be getting the ID. Okay, but again this will provide me the optional. I don't want optional, I want to fetch the value from here. So but as of now I don't even want to fetch the value, I just want to check whether it is available or not. Okay, so what I can do is I can say is present. So this method is there, is present. Okay, so you can verify whether this exists or not. Now if this is available, that means it's a red flag. This time we need to throw the exception. So what I will be doing is I'll say here throw new, and here we will be saying duplicate owner ID exception, something like this. Yeah. And again, let me just copy this particular part here, and here also let me do it like this. Yeah. And on this particular one, owner ID, so for this again we are not having it directly, so let me get it from this particular one. Okay, not there, so that's the wrong part, and let me just paste it here, guys. Yeah, so this one looks nice, but the point is I don't want to say the same message owner not found. I want to have a separate message here, guys. So if you want to have a separate message, then obviously you need to write a separate thing. So here we will say why I'm writing on top, because it will be thrown first. So I'm trying to use the same order, guys. Okay, so I'll say here owner already, or I guess ready already exists. So something like this I'll try to return here, owner already exists. And now this one I will be trying to throw from here, owner already exists, like this. And then here also let me try to write this. So what I'll do is I'll do here, and here also I will be saying owner already exists. So this particular one I have pasted, and here also I have pasted, and this I say A, and here I say dot E. I mean, you won't see everyone to, like, general YouTubers, you won't see they are going to show you, they will always say that okay, you need to write from scratch, but that's not a point. You don't need to write every time from the scratch. I mean, if your code is there and it's allow you, so why to write it when you can utilize it? It's a added feature which you have already added. Like, it's a kind of a plus point that you can copy paste from your own code. Okay, till the point you know what you are doing, copy pasting is fine, I feel. Okay, so here what I can say is owner with ID, owner with, let's say, owner ID, and then I will say percentage X, and then I will say already, READY, already exists. Okay, so this way I can throw the exception. So this looks nice. Okay, almost all the exceptions I guess have been covered by us till now. Okay, so this one looks good, and yeah, this way this part is also over, but not completely. So this is what if the when we try to save the owner and owner is found. What if owner is not found? Then what needs to be done? So in that particular case, if owner is not found, then you don't need to do anything much. You just need to call this, paste it here, not there obviously. You need to paste it here, and you need to say save. I mean, that's simple. Okay, so that's why you see I didn't save this particular part initially, because I don't need to reuse it. If I feel I need to reuse, then I will save it. Otherwise, don't save unnecessary things if you don't want to reuse. Okay, just use them at the runtime. Yeah. So this you have done. Save owner is also done, find owner is also done. Now let's go for the update pad details. Update pad details. Should I be directly calling the repository method? The answer is again obviously no. I should not be calling the direct method. First of all, I should be checking whether it exists or not. If it doesn't exist, then I should be throwing the exception. Why can't I reuse then this particular part? Okay, so I'll copy this and I'll paste it here. So in this particular way. Yeah. So you see, owner repository find by ID and this particular one. If you wish, you can reuse this whole method also. Okay, that's the benefit. If you wish, you can reuse the whole method, but generally again, like as of now, I don't feel so there is any need of it. Yeah. Later on, if required, then you can try to reuse, but I don't feel there's any need to reuse the whole method. So we are just depending on the owner repository, so that later on we can change our stuffs easily. The next part is, now if the owner, we say find by ID, and the owner is, let's say, not found, it will throw the exception. What if that whenever we say find by ID, it is able to find the owner? Then what needs to be done? Then we just need to simply call the method, that is update pad details. We need to pass the owner ID and the pad name, and as simple as that. I mean, again, we don't want to reuse that DTO method, that's why I didn't save it. Okay, We can just simply use it like this. Find owner, complete the task associated to the comment. I guess it is still, trying to save and update all the things. So that's why it is taking a bit more time, something like this. Okay. So this particular part is being done here, guys. Now the next particular thing. Now what can be done here? So the next part is we need to tell here delete owner. For delete owner, I guess it's almost same. We'll copy this, we'll paste it here. So let me just quickly paste it here, guys. And here, let me remove this part. And here what I'll do is I'll again copy this. So copy, not that way. I'm not sure. Maybe because of the variable name, whenever the moment I try to select it, it goes there. Okay. So delete by owner ID, and yeah, this one again looks simple. Last but not the least, I want to find all the owners in this world. So when you want to find all the owners in our Pakistan world, then it's very simple, guys. You just need to say like this, and you need to say find all, and it's done. Nothing much needs to be done, because obviously it will be returning you list. Yeah. So this is how the things are going to work fine. So now your service IMPLs are ready for use, guys. Now the next part is even going to be much more interesting, because after this we are going to create the, what we say, the repository IMPL. Okay. So for that particular one, let me go here and click on this particular one class. Yeah. And here again, let's start with the pet repository IMPL, because that is still going to be simple and we can reuse the things, guys. So I'm going here, pet repository IMPL, and this also I want in a separate package IMPL. And here I wish to make usage of pet repository, guys, this time. So this I've selected, I have done like this, and I'm doing something here. So now this is even more interesting. Find by pet ID and something like this. Now, since we don't have any database here, what we will do is that instead of interacting with any kind of database or doing something like that, one option is that I can just pass on some simple messages that, okay, this is the pet DT or something like this, but I want to pass the complete structure. So one option is that I can directly hard code a structure here. But I just want to showcase you some of the features of Lambda and streams here. So for that particular purpose, what I will be doing here is that I'll be writing here something like a private. So I'll make a private and I'll say here list of pet DTO. So this particular one, I will be doing list of pet DTO here, guys, and this is pet DTO list. So this is going to be my initial list. Yeah. Now the point is when this list will be initialized. So since this is repository, so this, first of all, we need to do it like this. I guess I missed it. So at the rate repository. Now it looks good. Okay. Now the point is when this list will be initialized. So this list will be initialized whenever you are going to create a bean for this. That is, you are going to invoke the constructor. So we'll say this constructor for using fields. There are no fields. Yeah. So currently here I'll just remove this particular part because I don't want to pass that here. Okay. So what I'm planning to do is that I'll copy this here. I'll go and I will say this dot this particular part, and here I will say new of array list. So like this one, simple. So I'm just planning to do it like this. Now you will feel that, okay, then who is going to actually initialize this list? Initially then it is always going to be empty, but that's not going to be a case. We are still going to do something more interesting. But before that, let me create this particular method here, guys. Okay. So what we are going to do here is that we need to return. Now from this list, we only want to return that particular pet whose ID is matching with this particular ID. Okay. So for that particular part, what I will be doing is that on this list, so here this is my list. So I'll copy it here and paste it something like this. First of all, I will convert it to a string. If you wish, you can simply make usage of a for loop. Okay, that's also fine. But we are we are working with Java 17. So at least Java 8 we should be able to use here. Okay, then after converting it to a string, we'll apply a filter here. Now this filter will be accepting a pet, obviously. I mean, we are running it on the pet DTO list. So obviously it will be accepting a pet DTO here. So that's a pet DTO. And here we will check the pet ID. So this particular one, pet.getID here. So here it is. And this matches the given pet ID. So this pet ID is going to match the given pet ID. And then now the point is that maybe it is possible that this pet ID exists, this pet ID doesn't exist, and maybe there are chances that in later on there are multiple pets with the same pet ID. Obviously, we will ensure that it won't happen, that multiple pets with the same pet ID, but even if it happens, then that case we again play more safer side and we'll just say find first. So whosoever is the first pet ID with this, so that will be returned here, guys. And you see this find first is going to return you optional pet detail, which basically you want to return here. So that's interesting. So whichever is the pet ID first found, it will be returned. If there is no pet, it will just return an optional of pet detail. Okay. If you don't know about optional, then obviously you need to watch. I mean, I won't be able to explain you that particular part here, guys. Okay. So this we have done. Now the next particular part is going to be again more interesting, that we need to create the owner repository MPL. So for this, what I can do is I'll copy this, I'll go there and I'll paste it out. So let me do this particular part and I'll say here owner repository MPL, guys. So this is the one. So now we are here and we don't need this one as of now. So this is the one. Let me just again do the same thing. Let me try to do Control F if that helps. Okay, so here this is the owner and we are case sensitive, so let's try to find. So this replace the next, so this replace we don't want, next replace we don't want, next replace we don't want, next replace we don't want, next. Okay, so all are gone here. Next we'll replace this small pet with this small owner O. So this one also let's start doing. So this one replace, then this one replace, then next one replace, the next one replace, the next one replace, the next one replace, the next one, where is it, next one, yeah, here it is. So replace this also, the next. Okay, it's done, guys. Okay, so this one is also done. We are able to find by pet ID. So if you wish, you can make usage of this particular way. If you wish, you can go with some other different way. But yeah, the job is not yet done. We still need to implement many more methods. So let's go here and say override implement methods. We want to have all of them. So let it be like this, guys. And what we want is, I again want to maintain the sequence. I mean, again, it's your choice. It's not any hard and fast rule. Okay, we are just maintaining the sequence so that later on when I will reflect from the repository class to, or from the interface to the class, then I will be able to see each and everything in the same order. Okay, this way. Now how to save it? So for saving, what needs to be done? I already took care whether if it is the duplicate ID, I'll throw the exception there only. So now I don't need to do any much hard work here. So what I'll do is I'll copy this list, I'll paste it here and I will say save, and here I will say owner DTO, guys. Okay, so this way you can do. Okay, and for this there is nothing like that, so there is a method of adding here. Yeah, that's simple. So saving was simple, guys. Now next with the update pet details. So for update pet details, what we can do, so let's start taking from here. So we'll convert it to a stream again and let's see what best can be done. So this is the one. Next, first of all, we need to find this person who is having this owner ID. So when we need to find the person, why I didn't copy this? So I should be even copying this particular one. I mean, copy as much as possible. You just keep on copying. Okay, you don't need to write till the point you know what you're doing. Then after filtering it again, I need to find it if it exists. So I should be using this particular one. So let me do it like this. Now next, what after this, I want to say if it is present, then only update. If it is not, then don't update. So I'll say this if present here, and yeah, this is the one. Let me just say Control Shift O, Control Shift F. It didn't updated it anything much. I hope that it will move it to the next line, otherwise it's looking very big now. So if it is present, then obviously I will be getting the owner DTO here, yeah, if it is available. And if I get the owner DTO, so what I'll do is I'll just simply set it. So I'll just say like this, set, and I want to set what I want to set. So okay, I want to set the pet name. So from this I will be again getting the pet DTO, and for this one I will be setting the name. So this way, pet name I will be setting. So now it is going to look like this. So what I've done, first of all the list, then upon that I applied stream, then I am filtering whether this owner ID is only available. If it is available, get the very first one. Obviously there are no chances that there will be again and again, but still I'm doing it like this, get the first one. Then if that is available, then from there get the pet DTO and set the name as pet name. Simple guys. Yeah. Then next particular part, the next one is now we need to delete. So for this one also, let's do something like this. So here it goes like this. Now should we again convert it to stream, then filter, then we say if present. But the point is that deleting something is very difficult. Okay, so adding, or I mean we are not even adding, we are modifying. So modifying is still fine, but deleting something from the list can give us the errors. So for this, let's see if there are some more interesting methods. So if you go down, I mean I have already done that research, that's why I'm able to tell you. So if you go down, you will find here something interesting, remove if. So like filter, there is remove if. So what it will do is it will find and it will remove. So it is same as filter. What filter will do is filter will find. If it is available, then it will pass, otherwise not. What remove will do is it will filter as well as find. So remove if is there. Okay. So we just need to use this, and internal logic we can reuse like this, guys. Okay. So here this one we are going to reuse. Okay. Now some of you may say that, okay Abhishek, instead of using the owner.getID here, you should be using this side. What if this owner is null? If this owner is null, it won't even enter the remove if. Okay, then that thing has been already taken care by the lambda here. So this particular part is simple. And yeah, the last but not the least, here we need to return all. So what do you think? What can be done here? So let me write this and then you tell me what can be done. Okay, yeah, you were absolutely right. We just need to write this and it will just return all the employees. I mean, it was that simple here, guys. Okay, because this is the list which we want to return, and yeah, that's the point. Now the next but not the least part here is that the thing which we need to do, that every time when we will initialize it, it is going to be empty. So that particular part we need to take care, that how can we initialize it with some default value, so that every time whenever we are going to start, it's not empty. So for this particular part, what do you think what can be done? Is there any possibility? I mean, one possibility which I'm thinking is that instead of writing here new array list, why not to provide one owner DTO here itself? Okay, that is one possibility, that I create a owner DTO. Let's say something like this, owner DTO, and here I will say owner DTO like this, and I will say new of owner DTO, this particular one, guys. Okay, and then obviously I will be setting all the values one by one. At the end, what I will do is I will say here owner DTO dot list dot add. Okay, so I'll add it here, something like this. Okay, so this way I can add the things. Okay, obviously here I will be setting the values, set values, this I will be doing. So one option is this, but the point is it's not a good practice to write so many things in your constructor, whether it's a default or this particular one. Okay, so it's not a good practice to write it here. So here what can be done? Can we somehow have a static method kind of stuff? But then static method and the beans, so then again it is going to be a clash. I have covered, I guess in one of the interview questions, that why your bean classes can't have these static methods. So you can watch that. I'll provide the link on the top. So we won't be making any static method here, but what I want is the moment the bean is created. So the very first time the bean is created, I want one method to be executed. So let's create that kind of a method. So I will say here public void. I don't want it to return me anything. I just want, and I'll say init. Okay, simple. I'll just say init. And on that init, what I'll just do is I'll say post construct. So this is an annotation which you can use. Okay. And then this logic, you can cut from there, you can put it here and something like this. Okay. So this particular part needs to be done. You can just say post construct. Now what will happen the moment this bean is created? So first of all, when you will start your application, it will create a bean for your owner repository. When it will create a bean for owner repository, it will create an empty list. When the empty list is created, then it will go to this init method and it will add this owner detail. Same way, this particular part you can do here also. So let's go to this particular one, and here obviously we need to do it for the pet. So let me copy and paste it here, guys. And what else I can do? I can paste it here. I can just write it like this, something here. I can just write it like this, something here, and then I can obviously write something here also. So this way. Okay. Now obviously if I will start writing each one of those values one by one, it is going to be very boring. So what I'll do is, again, let's do some kind of magic and bring all the values automatically here. Then I'll show what I have done. Now as you can see, what I have basically done is that in this init, I have created this owner detail. Then I'm setting all the values one by one: ID, name, last name, gender, city, state, mobile number, email ID, something like this. Then I need to set a pet also. So I'm setting the domestic pet detail. I can't use pet detail here, otherwise I won't be getting this method as set birth date or set the birthplace. So I'm setting this domestic pet detail, then I'm setting it to the owner detail and adding it to the list. Same way, I'm creating one more owner, and then again I'm setting all the values. So two owners I have added, one with the domestic pet detail, other one with the wild pet detail. Then here, same way for this pet repository also, you see, I have done it in this way. So this time I started with the domestic pet detail, and then I created the owner, and then in the domestic pet detail, I'm saying set owner detail. Now, some of you may say, okay, Abhishek, then how is it one-to-one mapping? It may be possible that here you have some different data, there you have some different data. But guys, the thing which we need to understand it, that this is not going to be the complete real world application. In the actual world, you will be using the real database, which we are not able to use as of now because we have not completed Spring Data JPA series. Once we will complete that series, we'll modify this particular demo only and convert it to the actual database instead of using it like this. In the meantime, this is something which we need to bear with it. Okay, that here it can be some different data, there it can be some different data. Still, believe me, most of the things which we have covered so far, we will be able to implement all the methods. Okay, so this way we have done here, guys. Yeah, so this is the way. There was one more way also, that instead of writing all these values here, I could have taken it from the JSON, but believe me, that was even more difficult for this demo, hence I have not taken it as of now. Do let me know if you want to know that particular way also. Yeah, so most of the things are done, and as I said you that that moment I will be starting this, init will be initialized. So by default in this list also you will be having two pets with their owners, and in this list also you will be having two owners with their pets. Yeah, so this way it is going to look like. Now let me just close it. So this is also done, this is also done, util is also done, messages.properties is also there. YAML file, as of now only this is available. Why is it not opening? Yeah, only this is available, so that looks nice. I guess most of the things are done. Only the aspect part is not ready. Otherwise most of the things are done. Aspect is not ready and the JUnit part is not done. Otherwise most of the stuffs are here. So let's go here and start the application, guys. Okay, So let me go to this particular part, and what I can do here is that, okay, before starting the application, let me do one more small interesting thing. We need to add a banner also here, okay? But for that, what I'll do is I'll copy from this particular one, and I'll copy this banner from the previous, okay, the previous menu, because in demo 17 I have shown you exactly in detail how to create it. So we will copy this particular one, and here we don't want to this. So what we will do is we'll go to this particular URL. So let's go there. So where it is, yeah, so there it goes, and yeah, this is the one. So let me start it here, something this, and here what we are going to do here, guys, is here we will say Pakistan. So this is how, and the thing I wrote there was that we should be using varsity. I mean, no one of you told me that which font we should be using. That means you people are not watching the videos. I'm not sure how many of you are going to watch this video. We are going this much amount of hard work, okay? So believe me guys, these videos take a lot of time. So you need to support me, otherwise there is no benefit, okay? So let me write it like this. Yeah, this is something which we want. So let me copy this. So I have copied it. I'm not sure whether it's looking nice or not, okay, but it's still looking nice, we can see. So let's write it here, and let me clear this line also, okay. So we want a banner like this, yeah. So this is, and how we will be getting the application name, so that is available here, Spring application name. And how we are getting the Spring Boot version, so that we will get automatically from this pom.xml. This Spring Boot version will be coming to us 3.3.4, okay. Now let's quickly start this. So let me start it, I mean, why I'm doing it in that way. So let me go here and let me start this one, guys, okay. I mean, we created everything together. Okay, it says there is some issue, guys. And what's the issue? So it says application failed. It says error creating bean with the name demo. Okay, because this demo is dependent on owner service IMPL. Okay, and this owner service IMPL is unexpected exception during bean creation. Why so? Why this owner service IMPL wasn't ready? So here it says, okay, how to get this particular value? Owner already exists. So this part, I guess we missed, that how to, it will be fetching this particular value here. So for this, we need to go here, and here we need to say at the rate, what was it? It was at the rate property source, okay? So we need to write it like this, and within the property source, we need to provide those values here. So here we will say class path colon, and here we will say messages dot properties, guys, okay. So this way we needs to do. Now I guess it will start. Let's try it again, guys, and this time, okay, it started. Now since it started, you can see that it has started with Pakistan. Pakistan is powered by Spring Boot 3.3.4, okay. Do let me know that the time when you are running, what is the latest boot version, okay, so that we know that till which point YouTube will keep on showing this video. Now here it says welcome to Pakistan, which means it is working fine. Initial options, okay. Now as of now I won't add any new, I'll just try to fetch, okay. So I'll say 2, and ID of the owner I'll say 1, okay. So it says owner has been fetched successfully, and these are the details, guys. So we are able to see the owner. The owner is having one pet, so that's looking good. The only part which is not looking good is that here within this particular one, for this pet DTO, again it says like domestic pet DTO, and then it is showing up like this, get ID and all these things. So this is something looking a bit odd, and here also it says null, okay. So this is also null. Now why is it showing me null here? Because try to understand, here we went to this particular repository MPL, so inside this particular one, so for this owner we got the pet, so this pet we got, but for this pet, who is the owner? There is no owner, so that's why it is null, because it won't be automatically able to get from the other one, okay. So this is a small issue, and how to fix this issue. So in order to fix this issue, what we can do here is that, or as of now, let's check few more things, whether other things are working fine. So it's again asking me whether to continue or not. Let me say y, let me say pet details, and let me say id as 1. So here it is showing me domestic pet detail in this way. So now the pet is having the more power, hence pet details are coming first. Okay, so now it is going to look like this. So you see everything is visible. Then within pet you have the owner also, and then all details are this. But for this owner there is a pet which is null here. Okay, so this is how the things are going to look like. So what we can do is we can just go to this, and as of now, see, I'm not going to stop this. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll go here in the owner DTO, and here what I can do here is that if that is this particular one, if objects dot non-null. So if objects dot non-null, and we are basically worried about this pet DTO. So if objects dot non-null, then only show this particular one, the pet DTO part. Okay. Otherwise, if it is null, like in this case, when the pet from the pet side we are fetching, then internally we got owner. Now within that owner we were not having the pet details. So in that particular case, what we are going to do is we will write it again here, and what we are going to do is we will be removing this particular part like this. So this way we will be doing it out, guys. So now it is going to look like this. Yeah, now let me check whether it has updated or not. So let's go here. So yeah, automatically you see it has updated here. So now because of this file watcher, it was able to update, and hence it restarted. So there was one modification. Now let's see. So first of all, let me fetch it from the pet side now. So we say 6, and for the 6, what happened? Why is it not showing me anything more here? Okay, it may be some issue that it's not able to load, or it maybe it went slow here. So okay, after clicking something, then it started. Okay, so okay, now it wasn't able to load much, so no worries, let me restart it. I mean, it is DevTools, okay, and here we are using the inbuilt database, a dummy database, so there can be some issues. Yeah, so yeah, it's asking me for the pet ID. So now let me say here 1. Yeah, so again it is showing me domestic pet detail, something like this, and here you see it's showing all the details. Then get owner detail it is showing. Within this also it is showing you everything, and now that particular part is not there, because this time from the owner DTO when it fetched, so again it came here, and this time pet DTO was null, so it didn't printed this, and directly it printed the other part. Yeah, but still if you say y here, and you say 2 here, and you say 1 here, so for owner DTO now it is having a pet. So now since it is having a pet, it is showing the pet details, and then this pet is not having owner. So same thing we need to do in that particular part also, guys. So let's go here and let's edit all these things. Yeah, so let me just say here, if I mean this is again a part, I guess most of you guys keep on facing issues in these small things, that okay, sometimes it is again and again making a chain kind of thing. It's going internal and it's showing you the same thing again and again, otherwise it's not showing you the values. So your DTOs are going to do the magic here, guys. Okay, so that's the point to be noted here. So let me copy this, and again I just don't want this, but also I don't want to do it like this. Okay, so this is something which I want. So Control Shift O, and this looks nice to me, but what I remember is that obviously it is not printing the pet detail, it is printing domestic pet detail. So we need to go inside this also, and we need to update this one also like this, and here we will be saying get owner details. So let me copy this and let me paste it out here, get owner detail, and here let me just close this, and here let me say else, and within this part also what I'll do is that if it is there then only it will print, otherwise don't print. I mean, we don't want you. So let me delete this particular part, and here let me say this, yeah, and this plus also we have done. So this again looks nice. Same thing we needs to do for the wild also, guys. I mean, this part needs to be done here. Things don't work automatically. You need to make them work. Yeah. Otherwise, there are other options like you can make usage of Lombok and others, and there also you can see whether it is going to work for you or you need to do some amount of hard work. So yeah, this is fine, perfectly fine. Let's restart it. So I have clicked on restart with the assumption that it will start. Okay, it's taking time. Let me restart it. Okay, now it started. I hope it started. Yeah. Now let me say 2 here and say 1. So you say when I do it like this, it is showing me these details. So it is working fine. Now it is not showing you that null. Okay. Let me say Y again. Let me say 6 this time. Fetch pet details, and let me say 2. Okay, this time let's say 2. So wild pet detail, and you see it's showing everything. It's not showing null at the end. So this issue we have resolved very easily. Now the next part is I want to fetch all the owners. So I'll say 5. So you see it is showing me 2 owners because we added only 2 here. Yeah. Now next we say Y here, and let's say 3. Yeah. Let's say for ID 1. So currently for owner 1, the pet name is, what's the pet name? So the pet name is Max. Okay. So the name is Max. Let's change it and let's me make it as Min. Okay, so it says it is updated successfully, but I'm not sure. Okay, because it is not the actual database, it is just a dummy database, so we are not sure, but it says it has done. So let's see. So let me say 1, and here let me go, and it says Min. It updated. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, so we are able to update with the dummy database also. That's good. Now let's say 4. Okay, and here let me say 1, and yeah, it says it's deleted. Let me say Y, and this time let me say fetch all owners, and yeah, it's able to delete one owner. Obviously it is deleted temporarily. The moment you will start it for the next time, you will be having only that same basic default data. So we were able to run 6, 5, 4, 3 also, 2 also, only 1 is left. So let's run that one. So let's say 1 here, and let's say the enter ID of owner. So this time let's go by 3. Okay, first name is A, last name is A, gender is M, city is A, state is A, mobile is A, email is A. I mean, we don't have any logics there. Okay, so that's why it's looking like this, A. Then here I don't want to enter the date, so I want to keep it simple. I'll say place A, gender is M, and I want to have a cat. So this has been done. Okay, now let's say Y. Now after this, so we were able to add the owner. Now let's fetch all the owners. Let's say 5. So you see now there is 2 and there is 3, and all data has been updated here. Yeah. Now you will say that, okay, Abhishek, we want to see it from the this one also. Okay. Okay, let's see whether we have this pet ID. So pet ID was 3. Do we get this ID or not? Let's try to understand. This time you won't be getting the ID. Why? Because still it was a dummy database. So we added, so when we saved it, we added only in the owner repository. Okay. And we don't worry about it much. Yes, because it's only dummy as of now. Later on, we will be working with the actual database. There we will, this kind of issue won't happen. If you will update it in one place, automatically other place will be updated. But as of now, you will be getting this exception, pet not found with the pet ID, and you say it's in the error, and yeah, it's looking nice. But now what comes up in my mind is that as of now, here few things are left, which is that first of all, we haven't implemented AOP here. That is number one thing. Second thing is that currently we are not making usage of logs here. So we need to do logging also. And then obviously we need to write the test cases also for our code which we have written. I mean, how can you skip something without the test cases? So let's start all doing all those stuff also now. So now first of all, let's go here in application.yaml and let's try to for logging, let's log it in the file. Okay. So for this, what we will be doing is here we will say logging, and then here I will say dot file, and then I'll say here name. So logging dot file dot name. So this is the one. Yeah. And here obviously I don't want it directly. So what I want is that I want it to be, I can reuse this name, Spring application name. I mean, one option is, if you wish, you can write it like this, pakistan.log. Okay, but this name is already mentioned here, so why should I be writing it? So I can say here dollar and then something like this, and here, I mean, I need to write it like this, guys, spring.application, and here you can say name, spring.application.name. So this way you can write. I don't want to log it directly. Instead, I want to create a folder. So I'll say here path. Okay. So I'll be saying here path, and path folder name should be logs. So now what I will be doing here is that I'll say a slash, and here I'll again say something like this. And here I will say logging dot file dot path. Okay. So this way. So now within this path, this logging file pakistan.log will be created. But the point is, if I will run it 24/7, there will be too many logs. So I don't want all the logs in this file only. I want it on the daily basis. So we need to have a rolling policy. So we will say here logback. Again, all these things I have explained in detail in the logging video. Okay, so here I won't be able to cover that much amount of things. So here we want a rolling policy and max file size. So this max file size, I wish to keep it as 10 MB here. Okay, so for 10 MB is fine, I guess. Okay, I mean, because if you will make it less than this, then there will be too many files. Okay, also what I want is that every day there should be a new file. Okay, so I want that particular too. So here let's name it as this particular one, file naming pattern. Okay, control Z. I guess I have made some mistake. Okay, and yeah, this needs to go some here. Okay, file. So here we will say file name pattern, and this file name pattern we will be again keeping in this particular path only with this particular name only. And as of now, let me just quickly take the whole name. Okay, but the point is that every day I want a different file. So I'll say here %d, something like this, and within this I will say YYY, and then I will say then I will say dd, because then if you will say, what if we say dd mmyy, that's not an issue. But you see that when you will look into the file explorer or that particular way, so if you will write y first, then it will be more easier to assemble them. Okay, and then this I will be telling you that if there are multiple files for a day, then 1 2 3 at the end will keep on coming. So this way we are going to write this particular part, guys. So yeah, this is also going to look nice to us. Yeah, so this one is simple. Now the next part, the last but not the least, is we need to create the aspect class for ourselves, and that is little tricky as always. So we'll go here and I'll say class, and I will say log, and I will say here aspect. So this is log aspect, and here also I'll give it in the aspect package. I guess that is fine. So I'll say this. Now this aspect is just a component. Okay, it's neither a service, it's neither a repository, it's a component, guys. So we'll say this, and we will say it's an aspect. So we will write it like this. So it's an aspect for me. Now for which all things we want to have the aspect, and here we want to log the things. So I will say here private, and then I will say static. Or again, what I'm feeling now is that let me just quickly copy the basic part from some other files, then how to write the point get expression, only that part I'm going to show you. That is going to be much more beneficial for you instead of writing so many methods on my own. So see, this was much more easier because now we can directly focus on how to write aspect. So what we have done is we have basically create this logger. So it's a initial logger so that we know that it is getting logged in the log aspect. Then we are creating one before advice. whenever it will enter a particular method with the arguments, so that we will come to know. Then one, we are creating the after returning advice. So once it has returned completely. Other one is in case it throws some exception. Yeah, so only these three. So first of all, let's go for this particular one, at the rate before. And this we want to do for all the methods again and again. So instead of writing the same thing again and again, what I'll do is I'll create it as a separate method. And here I just want to do it for the service methods. So I will say here service method expression, something like this. I mean, this is going to be much more easier for us. Yeah, so here we'll say this, and here this is going to be my before. So this one is here, it goes before, and here this one is going to be simple, guys. What I'll just simply do is I'll copy it from here and I'll paste it. Yeah, so this is how it is going to look like. Now what is the point code? That is still yet to be written, but it is going to look something like this. Now let's say this one is after returning. So here this is the one after returning, and here also we will say point cut, something like this, and here again we will be writing it like this. So this is the point cut here, and here what I will be doing is that this is going to return you this returning equals to, and within this we will save it as a result. So we'll do it like this. Then the next, last but not the least, and let me just use my power of pasting after copying. So it says throwing, and this time also it is same, but here it is not going to be returning, and instead it is going to be throwing, and it is going to be an exception, guys. So let me copy and let me paste. So after throwing has been mentioned here. Okay, so now again this looks very interesting to us. Okay, now it's simple. Now I don't need to write it again and again, and I can just write a point cut once. Okay, so I will say a point cut, something like this. Yeah, and as the name suggests, so first of all we will just say on the top, I'll try to show you the exact structure, the general one from the previous video. I'll try to copy this, that how you should be writing it. So first of all, here it should be, so by default, all the methods are going to be public if you don't mention the access modifier. But what we want is, I want to return it for all the service methods. Yes, so if all the service methods, I don't want to worry about the return type, so hence it is star. All of them are by default public, and then they were in the package of this particular service IMPL. So let me quickly go there and copy this name. I mean, don't say that you want to write. Okay, it's always better to copying instead of writing. You don't want to make a mistake. Then after this, there are two classes in this package. I want for both. Then within these classes, there are multiple methods. I want for all of them, and some of them are having arguments, some don't have. So what I'll do is I'll just do here two dots, something like this. Okay, so now this again looks good to us. Execution, and this is how it is going to look like, guys. Yeah, now let me just run this again, and for this I'll quickly go here and let me run whether it works fine for us. We have almost seen most of the things. We'll just see a few things. Okay, this time basically the error scenarios. Yeah, so enter ID of the owner, let me say 3. What happens? So yeah, it says there is some issue, can't find owner. So I updated these message also a little bit, so hence it is showing you this, and this particular one, it looks good. So now first thing to check is that whether it has logged or not. Okay, so that we can check from here. If you see, it shows logging aspect, so it is able to show you this. What it says entered this particular one, owner DTO, and then this particular is your, here it went. So this is your method name, the complete method name it shows with the argument is 3. Then it came out with the exception as can't find owner with owner ID. Okay, from there, and this error is getting printed because you are printing in your demo class also. Now the next thing to verify is whether it is showing logs. So yeah, this is the log, guys, and yeah, see here, it is showing you all these logs. Okay, so this is working perfectly fine. Another time, let's check it once more. So we were able to check whether two aspects were working fine or not. So before is working, after throwing is working. Now let's check whether the simple one is working or not. So yeah, this time also it says entered owner and completed owner detail. Now since you are printing the complete result, it is showing you this much big in your result. So this is something which you need to take care whether you want to show this result or not. Okay, so this I leave up to you on to decide whether you want to have it or not in your log. Okay, because see, issue will come when you will say it like 5. Okay, because 5 is going to return your list. Now all the elements of list it will show you there. Okay, now you see find all owners with result as. So in the list it will show you the two owners completely, all the data. And why it is not a good practice to print it always, because many times when you are working with the actual application you need to take care of your customer data. Okay, you can't see all the details like this. Okay, so currently we are just doing some dummy part, so hence it is fine. But when you are working for the actual stuff, you can't print each and everything, and you need to take care basically the stuff like passwords and some other things are not going to be printed. You should be able to print only some of the things like ID and something, so that later on you will be able to identify the stuff. Yeah, so this part is going to look like nice. Okay, now I guess we have done most of the things, and now it's the time to go for last but not the least part, which many of you don't like. So basically this part has been done. Okay, so if you want to stop, you can stop it now, guys. Okay, I mean, this is your choice, but before stopping, just drop some comment, tell me whether it was helpful or not, so that next time I can check whether I should be making like this or not. Obviously, for the next time, I'll try to go live. This time we were not having enough equipments, enough arrangement, so hence it wasn't possible, although I planned that particular part. Yeah, okay. But now it's time for the testing. So those of you are interested, they can still continue watching with me, because now we are going to write the test cases for this particular logic. Basically, we will be writing the test cases for the service class and the repository layer, because we are having only two as of now. So as of now, let's go here and let me select this particular one. So here you see that, let me try to run this. So if I run it, let's say run as a JUnit test. So you see that, okay, it's running fine. I mean, there was nothing much. Okay, by default, when you do this, it will load the complete context. So hence it was looking up to like this. Yeah. So there were not much JUnit thing as of now. So what we will do is we'll remove this, and we'll basically remove this complete class also here, and we'll delete this. Okay, and instead what I'll do is here I will say package, and we will be saying here owner service test. So here we will be creating owner service test, and here we will say service, and here we will say test. Okay, so this way we should be creating it out. So this is going to be done. I hope I'm doing it in the right way. I guess in the 15th demo I shown you. Okay, okay, we should be writing it as IMPL test. That's more better practice. So let's go with the better practice, guys. Okay, like it's better practice by me only, because afterwards I need to do a little bit of copy pasting again. So that's why, otherwise there is no better practice as such. Okay, so here this is also a point. So yeah, so now this is the one. Same way for this other one also, let me delete because we don't have anything there. Let me delete this folder also because we don't have anything there. Guys, what happened? Have we deleted everything? Okay, it's still there. Okay, now we just want to delete this, and we don't want to delete the sub packages. Control Z is working fine, guys. That's an interesting part here. Now the next part, let me copy this, let me paste it here, and let me do it for the pet also. So here this is my pet service IMPL test. So this works. Now let me just copy the whole thing and let me paste it again here, guys. And here this time I won't do for this. And here let me see here repository, like this repository. So paste. Within this, I obviously need to refactor. I mean, this is a little boring part. So, I mean, that's why, but still, copy pasting is also boring. Okay. So, those who feel that copy pasting is easier, that's not a case. I mean, it's more difficult than coding something from scratch. But we love to do the difficult task, and hence we are doing it here. So let me finish this. Okay. So we are ready with our IMPL tests. We are ready with our service IMPL test. The only pending part left is we need to write the test cases. Okay, let's go. So we'll start with the pet service IMPL test. So now in order to write the logic for this particular class, the very first thing which we need to do here is that we need to remove this public here. Because since JUnit 5, if you remember, we don't need to make our classes as public. So this part is not needed. Now the next thing which we need to do here is we need to say here at the rate Spring Boot test. So that is the annotation if you remember. Yeah. Now by default, the moment you write this annotation, it will load the complete context for you. So you can say this is similar to your this particular one at the rate Spring Boot application. So it will load the complete context, everything which was there in the class path. But in order to test pet service IMPL, you just need to load that particular class only. So what we will do here is, here basically, here we will say classes. So we will explicitly mention that we don't want to load all the classes, and instead we are just interested in loading pet service IMPL dot class. So only one class we are interested to load, not everything. Yeah. And then it's a good practice because you should not be loading each and everything. Now the next part is that obviously we need to write something. Okay. We need to write the test methods. So here, if we go to this service IMPL, so you see that basically here we were having only one method. You are not going to test your constructor. Okay. So there was only one method to test, that is find pet. So there will be two scenarios. One scenario is void, and here we are going to test find pet when found. So this is going to be our number one scenario, that whenever it is found, at that time we need to test whether we are able to see this particular thing or not. That's the first part. The second part is that here we will say, again let me just copy paste, and this one let me take it here, when not found. So these are the two things, and see the naming convention. So I'm saying what I want to test, then I'm saying which method I want to test. That test is a prefix which I'm adding. Then I'm saying which method I want to test and for what condition, when not found, when found, when not found. So this way we are doing here. Yeah. Now obviously let's start with this only then if we are here. So here we will say at the rate test. So this is again a basic annotation. Now here I'm assuming that you know JUnit and Mockito a bit, then only this is going to work, otherwise not. Yeah. Now if this is a point, then here we want to test that, which means we need to invoke the actual method also. Yeah. But how to invoke the actual method here? Now for that particular point, if you want to invoke the actual method, the thing is that you need to auto-wire it. So here we will say at the rate auto-wired, something like this, and here we will say private, and here we will say pet service IMPL, and then just simply write the same thing again here, P and then this, and say this. So pet service IMPL. Then pet service IMPL is dependent on your repository, but let's assume the repository is not ready as of now. Since it is not ready, so we are going to mock it, okay, with an assumption, because here the goal is only to test the service, not the repository. For that we have a separate class. So we are assuming that repository is working perfectly fine. So here we will say repository, and here we will be saying repository like this pet, and then yeah, this is how it is going to work, or you can say it is going to look like. Yeah. So this will be working fine, guys. Now after this, let's go back here because this one is going to be simpler. So here, first of all, with the help of Mockito, so or with the help of Mockito, we will say that whenever, so I can use something like Mockito.when. Later on I'll remove so that we can get the, those imports. So I will say when. So I will say whenever I will be invoking pet repository. So something like this, and from there I will be saying this method find id. So let's say we are trying to find id 2. Yeah, so this is my assumption that from there whenever I will be calling this particular one, then return. So at that time you need to return me, and that return, why isn't it coming? Let me just quickly go here and import. Yeah, now I hope it will be coming. So whenever I will call it, at that time you return me an optional empty stuff. Okay, because from there you can see we were getting optional, and then from here the exception should be thrown. For that optional empty stuff, what I will be doing is, instead of writing there directly, we can first save it separately. So we can say pet dto something like this, and here I can say optional pet dto something like this, and here I can say optional dot empty. Okay, so I'm telling it that whenever I will be calling this, then you need to return me empty. Yeah, so that I have told for the repository what you need to mock. Now after this, once it has been done, now we will be calling the actual method here. Yeah, so for that actual method we will here simply say something like this pet, and here we will say service impl, and then we will say dot, and we will be calling it like this, and we will call it with the help of 2. So as simple as that, this 2. Now this 2, it says it is going to throw the exception, but that exception only we need to check this time. So here we are assuming it for the exception, so exception only we need to check. So what we will do is we will say here assert. So here we will say something like this assert throws. I hope we are going right. So this is assert throws, and okay, I guess it's all because of those inputs assertions dot assert throws. Yeah, now it came. Yeah, I mean for the first time when you will be writing, it will be difficult because it is static imports. Once you have done, on the top we will make it as static. Okay, so that we don't need to do it again and again. So in this second part we will be writing this thing, that whenever we will be calling it, so nothing will be passed and we will be just calling it. So at that time you need to throw me the exception, and which exception we are hoping for. So we are hoping for pet not found exception. So this is the one which we are hoping for, and hence we will say it's a class like this. So this is the one. Then we don't only want to check the exception, I mean this is not edit, so we don't only want to check the exception, we also want to check the message. So we will be saving it somewhere. So here let's say the actual exception. So this is the one, and this exception is obviously of type this particular one. So this is the actual exception which we are getting here, and now I want to get a message out of this. So I will be saying assert, and then I will be saying equals again. Okay, so let me do something more interesting so that we don't face that issue again and again. Let me make it as static. So what I will just quickly do is I'll write here and here as static, so that we keep on getting these methods and everything automatically from Mockito and this. Okay, so this, now we don't need to write this Mockito and this assertions again and again. Now we can simply write whatever we wish to have. For example, we'll say here assert, and this time we'll say equals. So this is the one, so equals we are getting, and yeah, so this is the actual exception. So actual exception dot get message. So this is the one, and here we need to write some expected message. So here let's say we want to have some expected message. This expected message let's mention on the top only. Okay, I mean it's better to make variables in such a case. Okay, so what kind of message we are expecting here? So we are expecting, I can copy from this particular part, so I'll copy this and paste it out here. So let me write and say this. Okay, and the pet id is 2, so obviously it should be saying me 2. Okay, so this is I'm expecting. Okay, so most part is done. Now I also want to check that it should not happen that it is just, I mean, throwing me this exception. I mean, what if someone has hard coded to only throw the exception? First of all, it should actually find from the repository. Then it should throw if not found. Okay. So I want to verify that. So I will say here verify, and here with verify, I will be using this particular option, that is verify. And what you need to verify is that this pet repository, so this particular one has been invoked how many times? So this should be invoked one time exactly. And which method? So find by id with the argument as 2. So that I wish to check here, guys. Okay, so this is how it is going to work. So first you said what you are expecting from the mock. Okay, so this particular part was there. Then here, this is the actual call which you have made. Then here you are checking whether the messages are same or not. Yeah, and here you are verifying whether actually the repository was called or not. Maybe someone has just hard coded to throw this. Okay, so that should not have occurred here. So let's save it and let me just try to run this. Let's see whether it works fine or not here, guys. So let's say JUnit test, and if you go here, so you see it has started, and it is, I mean, it says that I was expecting it to return can't find pet with pet id 2, but actually I got something as pet not found. So why is it so? So try to understand why is it saying pet not found, because if you remember, we were fetching the value from the properties file. Now since we were fetching the value from the properties file, we need to again do the same thing here also. So what we can do here is the annotation is test property source. Okay, so this is the way. And again within this you can, I mean, copy from here. So let me just copy this and paste it out here within these double inverted commas, if it works fine or not. Okay, so now let me again test. So let's test it again. Now let's see whether it works or not. So currently you see now it is working fine. Okay, now it is able to take it from there. Okay, so by default what happens is that this particular properties file will be making usage of this messages.properties only. So that's a by default thing. But as a good practice, what you should do is whenever you are testing, you should be having on your own also properties file. So for this, what we'll do here is we'll go here and we'll say resources and something like this. Okay, so this is the one, src test resources. So this we have created, and let me just quickly do a refresh. I hope with refresh it should be able to show me. I can't see this, so let me just quickly do a maven update. I hope then it will be able to show. Yeah, because I mean this time we are testing, so we should not be checking the messages from the messages.properties file. I mean this case it is same, but there are many scenarios when you want to have different. Okay, so then it's a good practice. Also if you want to have some other values, then so what we have done in src test resources, we have copied the messages properties from there only, but now this one will be used instead of the resource main file. So that's a difference which we have done. In case if you feel there is no requirement, then you can work in that particular way also. Yeah. Now the other one was that we need to check what if this pet is found, then how it is going to behave. So in that particular one, let's again start doing the things. So first of all, we'll say here when, and then here we will be saying, let me copy this. So I'll copy this, and this time we say, let's say we are passing 1. Okay, any id you can pass, because this is something we are hard coding. And then we are saying then return, and this time also we will be saying some optional pet dto. So this same optional pet dto, let's provide it here also, something like this. Okay, and this is your optional pet dto, something this particular one. Okay, but this time it is not going to be empty. This time here we are going to provide some value. So here we will be saying off. Yeah, and here we will be creating some expected pet dto. Okay, so here we will be saying something like this. So let's say it is something like a domestic pet DDO, we can say, or we can even create, I mean, you need to create either one of them. Either you can create a domestic or that one. So domestic pet DDO, and here you can say this is going to be my expected pet DDO. So this way, expected pet DDO, and again you give the same name. So copy and let me paste it here, and this is how it is going to look, guys. Now this time when I will be calling it, so it should be returning me this particular one, not the default one. Okay, so this is a small change which we have done here, guys. Yeah. Now once it is done, now the next part is we need to complete rest of the method. So again this part is done, and now the main part, that this time again we need to call. So let's call this. Yeah, and this time we are passing 1 here. So let me pass it like this, and here this time we don't want exception here, so we just want to throw from here. Now whatever the pet it is going to return, we will save it in the pet DTO. So we'll say here pet DTO, and this is going to be my actual pet DTO. Okay, so this way we are checking it as actual pet DTO, and yeah, this also looks good to me. Now the next one. Now we again needs to do the assertion. So we'll say assert equals something like this, and from here what we will do is, this is your expected pet DTO. So I'll copy this particular one, I'll paste it here, and then I will say comma, and here I will say actual pet DTO. So I'll verify whether these two are same, and if these two are same, I'll also verify that this method is getting invoked. Otherwise it should not happen that it is just simply calling it and telling you that okay, it happened. Okay, so now again let's verify. So JUnit test. So again you see it is started, and yeah, it is work. Okay, it's not working fine, guys. Okay, don't be happy that quickly, because we didn't even made it as a test. Okay, so I mean, these kind of happiness happens in between. Okay, but the point is you need to remember that it's not a time to be happy as of now. So yeah, now it says that it is able to find. Okay, so whatever we mentioned, it is returning us the same thing only, and hence it is working fine here, guys. So this way we were able to test for the pet service IMPL and something like this. Now let's move on towards the repository part. Okay, so now we'll go for the pet repository IMPL. Now for pet repository IMPL, how we can work. So again, here first of all let's check which all methods are available to us. So we will go here and we'll go to this pet repository IMPL. So again here if you see, we are having the methods as, I mean, this init again we don't want to test. Okay, again we are also not interested in testing the constructor also. The main aim to test is this find by ID only. So you will say basically it is the same method. The answer is yes, it is same method, but still it is going to be little different. We will quickly see what is going to be the difference. Yeah, first of all, as always, on the top we will say that same thing. So let me copy from here. So this part I have copied. Yeah, so this I will be copying here, and this time it is going to be repository IMPL. So this way. So this is number one thing. Now number two thing, obviously we need to invoke some method of it. So we need to again auto-wired it. So here we will be saying auto-wired, and here we will be saying as private. And this time let's just quickly do it as private repository IMPL p small. And here let me just copy this part again. Okay, I mean that should not happen. Okay, let's go here, and yeah, we are on this particular part, guys. Yeah, now next, this time if you say, so we have created this particular one, so what's next? So the next part is that now we need to write again those methods. So let's quickly write, and what I am planning is I'm just planning to copy this. Okay, so I won't copy the complete part, I'll just copy this much part. So this is when ID is found, and the other one is when it is not found. Okay, so let me write it here. So this time, this is the one when it is not found. Now, what needs to be done here? So this time we will be just, now we don't need to mock anything because it is not dependent on anything. The list is internally available here only. So we will be saying here find by ID, we'll say find by ID2. So, and it is not going to throw the exception. So this time we are not expecting the exception. Yeah. So when it is doing something like this, so what is the output? So output should be something optional of pet detail. So let me copy this particular part and I write it here. And this is actual optional pet detail. So it will look like this, actual optional pet detail. So this is how it is going to look like. Now with what we will compare. So I say that when I will pass 2, I should not be getting anything. Okay. So what I'll do here quickly is I'll copy this and here I will say expected. So I'll say here expected and here I will say optional dot empty, something like this. So this is the way I will be doing it out, guys. Yeah. And then the final but not the simple thing, here we need to say assertions dot equals, and here we will say assert equals here, guys, and here we will be again comparing these two things. So first of all, this is going to be my expected part and then this is going to be my actual part, guys. Okay, it copied the same thing, no worries, I can write it, that's easier for me. Okay. And now what I'll do is that again I'll go on the top, I'll mention it as static, I'll mention it as a dot star because after this also there are many more things. I'll remove this also, I'll remove this also. So here we are done with this particular part. Let's quickly check if it works fine or not. So this time we are here, so let me say run as JUnit test. So yeah, you see we are getting some error. So when it is found, then it is working fine because there is no logic. But for the other time, what it says is that it says that for 2 also there is some output. So why is it possible that it can say for 2 there is some output? From where is it picking the data? So this is picking the data from the actual, this particular list. From this list it is picking. But we want to say don't pick from the actual list, because you see when you will be actually testing the database or repository layer, you are not going to interact with the actual database. You will be using some dummy database. So here also for this dummy also we need to use a dummy list. So what we will do is we'll copy this and we need to do it here, pet detail list. So we will be creating. Yeah. Now what I want is that I want it to use something like this. So for this purpose, I'll do something more interesting. If you are working with the actual database, then obviously you don't need to do this much amount of hard work. Okay, then it's simple. But currently we are working with the dummy one, hence we are doing this. So I will write a method here. Now within this method, what I'll do is that I'll copy this and paste it here. Now I will say reflection. Okay, so this is something more interesting which we are going to do here now. So here we will say reflection and test utils and get field. So what we are going to do now is we are trying to get the pet DTO list from this actual class. So from this actual class, what we will be doing is we will be getting the variable list and we will be automatically getting it here. So here we are going to get that particular one. Yeah. Now once we got, so the problem here is that it returns you an object. So you need to convert it to a list of pet DTO. So you need to do some kind of typecasting, guys. So here, yeah, we are here. So list of pet DTO, yeah, like this. So yeah, this is the one. So reflection test utils, if you feel it is difficult, we have used in other one also, where I explained you about Spring Boot testing. That time also used. Okay. So what we have done is we have copied the actual list and we have provided it here from the main class. Yeah. Now once we have provided it here, now what we are going to do is we are going to say empty. Okay, so we are just going to clear this list. Okay, so we are going to clear it for the test purpose, so that initially we don't have any data, and hence whenever we will pass 2, it will return us empty only, not the actual one. But I want it to be executed every time before these things, so I will say before each, so that it gets executed before every test method. Now let me run it again. Yeah, see, sometimes testing is more difficult than writing the actual logic, but yeah, it worked for me. Okay, so this one worked, but yeah, nothing more too happy because still there is a long way to go, guys. Yeah, so let's start working. Okay, so one part is over. Let's work for the other one. So for this one also, again, I hope this part is going to almost remain same. So what I'll do is I'll copy this and I'll paste it here again. Yeah. This time we will try to find it by 1. So this is the one, then this is your assert equals. So this is here, and let me write it here. Yeah. And here we need to have the expected optional pad due. I mean, why to make it? Or what we can do is from here we can say get. So this we can do, I guess. So yeah, so this we can do. Yeah, and here instead of making it optional, we will just simply make it simple. So same way we did it earlier. So like here we did it. So let me just quickly make, if you want to make it optional, then also it's fine. Okay, otherwise you can just do it like this. Yeah, so now whenever we will be calling, so it should be returning this. Let's check it out whether it will work or not. So JUnit test, and here when I run, so yeah, now it is giving me the error because it says that okay, when you called this, it gave you some actual optional pet detail, but what was it? There was no data in it. Okay, so now you actually need to enter the data in this list. Okay, so this list needs to be added with the data. So here we will say add, and here we'll add it with this one. So yeah, there it goes. And let me just run it again, guys. So JUnit test, and let's see. Yeah, so now again it says there is no value present. Why so? So here when I say find by ID 1, then it is returning me this actual optional pet detail. Okay, but here, and what I'm passing in that list, so it is obviously making usage of this list, and this list I'm passing this expected pet detail. Yeah, so why is it not able to match these things? Because again you didn't entered the ID. Okay, on what basis it is matching? On the basis of ID. So let's set the ID also on those basis only. If you remember, it will match. I mean, if you go here, so it is matching on the basis of ID. So what is the ID from that list? That is 0. Okay, so that way. So you need to set it like this, set ID. Now let's check whether it works or not. Okay, now it gives us a green signal. That's working fine, perfectly fine. So this is how it is going to work out, guys. Okay, so now we have created it for the repository IMPL also. So that part was good. Now let's do it for the service IMPL test for the owner part. So we need to again go back here, and this time what I can do is I can simply start copying the things. So I'll go here, I'll paste it out the things. So I will be doing something like this, and I will be mentioning here owner. Yeah, so this one part is simpler for me, and here I'll remove this. I hope I removed it from here. Yeah, I did it. Let me close it as of now. Now the next one is we again need to have both of them. So here let's do it like this, and here also let me quickly replace the stuff. So here let me make it owner, here also let me make it as owner, and here also let me make it as owner, and here also let me make it as owner. Okay, so these small things we have done. Methods we will write after this. Okay, let's take some time for that. So this part we have done. Let's do the same thing for the repository also. So for the repository also, let's do the same thing. So copy and I'm pasting it out here, and let me say here owner. I don't want to repeat this class, so let me give it like this. And here also, I need these both of them. So copy, and I need to paste it like this. Again, here also I need to repeat. So I'll say copy, I'll say paste here, I'll say paste here also, then here also. Anything left? I guess here we can just say owner. So here we will just say owner. So this one also pasted, and here also we are pasting. Here also we are pasting. Here also we are pasting. What left? Yeah, this is left. So here also we are pasting. Here also we are pasting. Okay, so that was a stuff part. So, but this is done. Okay, so mostly this part is done because now it is just copying pasting. Yeah, most of the part we have already done. But now comes the main stuff, that if we go to, let's start with owner service IMP. So if we go on this one and if we check here, so we have 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, and then 5 methods. For this one, there will be 2 test cases. Yeah, when the owner exists, when owner don't exist. For this also, there will be 2, when owner found, not found. For this also 2, found, not found. For this also 2, found, not found. And for this, there will be obviously 1, I guess, not much. Okay, so almost it will be like 2, 4, 6, 8, and 9 to 10 test methods are there. But do you think it will be beneficial if I will write all of them again and again, line by line? I mean, you have already seen here how we are doing. Okay, so the same thing you just need to repeat. So there is no benefit of writing again and again. So what I'll do is, again, I'll do just some magic and I'll add all these things automatically here. Then I'll explain to you what I have done there. Yeah. So now we are done with the magic, and as you can see, now my owner service IMPL test is ready to be used. So let's see it one by one. So first one is test save owner when it is a new owner ID. So first of all, we are saying that from the owner repository, when we will pass 1, at that time it should return me optional owner entity that is empty. So it returned me. Then I'm saying that okay, save the owner, calling the actual method. Yeah. And hence, after this, I'm verifying whether find by ID was called or not, whether save was called or not. So those things I'm verifying. Same way, if the ID already exists, when it is existing owner ID. So this time, instead of returning empty, we are returning the owner DTO with ID 2. Since it is 2, so it should be throwing exception, and we are checking the exception message. So this way we are doing, and we are only verifying for the find by ID. Okay. The other method should not be invoked. So this way. Then same way for find owner, it is same simpler, which you saw in the pet also. So this part is also simple. Then update pet details when it is found. So when it is found, in that case, what we are saying is that if it is found, so from the repository, when I pass 1, something should be found. And for this something should be found, this time you need to do little extra hard work. Because only if you will set the ID for owner DTO, it won't work, because you need to change the name of the pet also. So you need to set some domestic pet or wild pet DTO depending on your need with some basic ID, so that you can change the pet ID. So that way we are doing for this particular one. Then same for when not found. So this is done. This was as again simple. For delete also it is simple, not much similar to find. And for find all owners, so here we are just doing simple, that whenever we are calling the repository, so just return us an empty only, and we will just verify whether it is actually empty list and not a null thing. Okay, so it should not be returning null, it should be an empty list if there is no owner. And we also need to verify whether this find all method is invoked or not, so that we can check actually. I mean, it should not happen someone is just return new array list from the service itself. That should not happen here. Then same way for the owner repository IMPL test. So same way, this before each and test and everything has been done. And you see here for the test save, I mean just a one single scenario, because there was no exception. Okay, for find by ID, so when found, when not found, delete ID when found, so this also we are doing, and find all also we are doing. So all these we are doing here one by one. So again, we have tested and we have written it for all these methods one by one here. Now again, let me just quickly run and check whether it is working fine or not. So if I see, so what you can see here is that, yeah, we are getting green signal for all of them. Now, since we are getting green signal, that means this part is also ready. So SRC test Java is ready, SRC test resources is ready, main resources was already done, in YAML we updated, banner was already done, messages was already done for us. Okay, so this part, util we just copied, service IMPL we created, service done, repository IMPL done, exceptions we updated later on, enums, DTO, aspect, each and every part is done, guys. Okay, so there is nothing left, and the only thing to do now is that you just run, and let's try to create a jar file. I mean, at the end you need a jar file. Okay, so let's try to create a jar file here. So let's say clean package. So on saying clean package, now you see what all things it will do. Yeah. So at the end, when you are saying clean package, it is running your test cases also, and jar file will be created only if your test cases are going to work fine. Yeah. Now let me refresh it. So on refreshing, you can see in the target folder, I'm getting this one. But the point is that here it is showing me Pakistan and the version number also. Now, this is your choice whether you want to show the version number there or not. Generally, in the jar file name, let's say I don't want to show this version number in the jar file. So what I can do? So what I'll do is I'll just go to the POM in the build portion, and here I'll just need to do something like this, final name. Yeah, and then say this and just write like final name. So something like this, and here you say that the final name I just want as Pakistan only, or I guess we can write it as artifact ID. Okay, so we just want to write it as artifact ID. I hope it works fine for me. Okay, so if you wish you can hard code, if you wish you can do it like this. Let's again do it and see whether it worked or not. So now if I do clean package, okay, package, yeah, that was the clear spelling. So now let's do it again. So it's again doing. I'm not sure whether it will be able to quickly find it or not. I'm assuming it should be able to find. Yeah, it was able to find. Let me just refresh it. So on refreshing, you see now it is just showing a simple name as pakistan.jar, pakistan.jar.original. Why these are two? So if we go here in the properties in this particular location, so you see these are two because this original only contains your code. So the dot classes for your code was only of 28 KB, but you want the executable one, which was a very bigger in size. So hence we were able to see something like this. Yeah. So I hope we are able to create, and this video was up to the mark as per your expectations, what you expected. Obviously, if you expected with the real database, it's not. If you expected it to have something web application, it's not. Okay. But this is something which you can do with your Spring Boot, the basics part only. Okay, and see, even this part is very big. So those who feel that okay, we directly create a web application with database and security, believe me, there are too many things to reach till that particular point, but at least you should start with this one. Hope you will like this video. Hope I will be getting more views on this. Yeah, so that this hard work actually paid off, because each and everything needs to be coded and it was a very long video. So tell me in the comments how much part you have actually watched. Okay, did you liked it or not, or do you want such long videos in future or not? See you next time, maybe with the next series basically. Bye everyone.